What is up, everybody? Welcome to the After Chat. You got POTA questions and SOTA questions and any ham radio questions. Well, you came to the right place. It's me and a number of other really smart people that are on the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord. The link is in the video description. You can join us over there and you can ask your questions to us here on YouTube, but it would be best if you joined us on voice over on Discord at hashtag live-stream/afterchat. Set a mic, set a speaker, and set a PTT button because it's a hot repeater. But we'd like you in there and ask your questions live. All right? Very good. Let's get started. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I will hit this right up front because I remembered, and I'm going to do it. So, what? Hello, radio. Come on back to me. Come on back to me, bud. Come back. There we go. All right. So, question that I got earlier was, am I happy I brought the KX2? And would I have changed anything? So, the KX2 is a great radio on single sideband. It sounds really good. It's actually it's a very good receiver. It's light. It's super portable. My entire kit is literally this right here. This is the entire kit. So this went in my main backpack that has my camera gear and all that stuff that I'm not going to put in a roller board, right? The stuff I'm going to carry. Because inevitably I'll get gate checked or whatever. That stays with me at all times. And it has the AX1 antenna and it also has the K6ARK antenna in this little mesh back area. Great. Flawless. I've taken this on backpacking trips. I've taken this everywhere, all over the place. Wonderful, wonderful setup. Is it perfect? No. Doing digital modes on the KX2 is it's not a USB connection like the 705, right? You still have to plug in 2 audio jacks. Does it work well, though? Yeah, absolutely. It works just fine. What's the downside? Well, the downside that I ran into, and I'm actually going to go back, let me go back to the video from earlier, and I'm going to pause.
Really not India 6, buddy. I'm on Kilo. No, we're good to set up.
Okay, so right here, this is the Federal Hall. Wait, am I not live? You guys hear me, right? I'm not in here yet. That's right, but you guys hear me? Am I good? Hello? Only on YouTube. Only on YouTube. I should be Oh, I'm not on Discord yet. That's true. That's true. Hang tight. I'll be on Discord in a second. Okay. So I want to get this question out of the way just so that I get it covered. So this is Federal Hall in the background, and literally these black boards prevent you from getting up on those steps. When we talked about this last week, there's a platform on the top of the steps. It's on the left and right side, rightmost and leftmost side of that frontage that you could climb up to, if you will. I could have set up a radio there. With a radio, it wouldn't have been a problem. This was just not doable. Just was not doable at all. So what would have been better, as we kind of expected, was that the KH1 would have been better. And there's a lot more of this talking point on the video that I'm going to post next week, but at the ground level, right here, there's a little New York PD smart car. I could have stood there and just ran the radial wire on the gutter. I bet I could have made, well, I could have make more contacts than 0 other than this one I made on single sideband. And so that would have been helpful. And so, for reference, the KH1 is this guy. I'll show you right now. And why it's kind of unique is the antenna and the whole 9 yards is all this. The antenna is right here. The antenna is mounted permanently on the radio, or when you want to use it that way. You have the antenna mounted. You can tune it up. You can do CW. The keys on the body, and there's literally a little place for you to actually log your contacts live with the radio. That would have been the only way I see having made that whole thing work with Franklin. It's just the Federal Hall.
No, India 6 station, but this ahead of Lex. There is nowhere good to set up.
It's just,
I thought I would throw the Hail Mary and try for 2-meter simplex.
It's just impossible. There's no way. And I went around to the back side of the building, in front of the building, all that. Impossible. Was not going to work. Was not going to work. So there you go. There's the answer to that question right up front. But that's not why you're here. You're here to get your questions answered. I bet you, if when I click on the Discord right now, there's going to be some POTA and SOTA experts that can add even more context. But we were going to take any amateur radio questions, any of them. So make sure you stick around. Hello, and thank you to N1 RIP for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Next, from Ghost Blackout, question: if it wasn't a weekend, how long does it usually take to get your call sign? I'm a new ham. So come back to me with, did you test in person or did you test online? Those are fundamentally different things. If you tested online, it could be as little as days. If you tested in person, it could be a week or more. Okay? There you go. Let's go ahead and join the Discord and say hello to our ham radio friends. So let me click the button here.
Come with everything, or is it just? I'm sure it doesn't have control cables or anything like that.
Let's see that. Talking ham radio.
Yes, we are. Hi, Josh.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Finish the thought, and then we'll start up.
Hey. No, go ahead. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is the after chat. The best way to get involved in this is to just take the link in the video description again for the Discord. But we have a really good group of people in here. It's a really good turnout, and I'm assuming that number is only going to go up. But right up front, like to keep it POTA and SOTA. I see Mike Kate MRD is in the house. K6ARK's here. Good SOTA representative as well as among some other folks. So do we have anybody in the chat who it's their first time in the Discord that would like to say hi or ask any ham radio question? Is there anybody in the house right now that fits one of those qualifiers? Go ahead. I got started pretty early, so if all of our newcomers are still trying to log in. Okay, how about any question? Go ahead. Was that somebody?
While we're waiting, your chat on screen next to your head is not refreshing, so you might want to check that out.
Okay. Well, let's take care of that right now.
And there's somebody in the chat here on Discord that's saying hi for the first time.
Hey, so it's Chris, Barb, and Ken. You're both on YouTube, so join us over on the Discord. But was there somebody on Discord as well?
W4DPE.
Oh, yeah, right on. I will just say hi. Well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you coming out. If you end up having questions, feel free to pipe in. Any questions are taken. Obviously, ham radio questions are our goal, so keep that in mind. Anybody with a POTA or SOTA question, since we have a number of good folks in here that would like to have their questions, come first. Go ahead.
I have one. I think I already asked it, though. And since Mike's in here especially. So you guys, I asked a couple weeks ago about those POTA masts and all those things. Is the 20-footer really sufficient, like if you're using an end fed or anything?
Yes.
Very much so.
Okay. All right.
I mean, is there like a deeper question than that, or is it just like,
does
it work?
Because I'm just wondering if I should wait for the 33-footer or get the 20-footer.
Oh,
let me extrapolate a little bit on this.
Sure.
Okay.
Because
extrapolate,
if I may. So the Carbon 6 is a mast that I have used extensively when I hike through Huntsville State Park. Usually a 7-mile round trip. Hike out to my activation zone, and the Carbon 6 is it was the perfect mast because it was small and it was lightweight. being only 20 feet, I used the KM4 ACK end fed half wave. I used the 1010's end fed half wave, K6ARK, PAC-10, all of them with the 40 meter link on, and I could just bring it out and stick it in trees with the 705 in the backpack. Thank you, Don. And get on the air, make contacts, no problem. So the height is not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on what you're doing and where you're going, I mean, we know that, yes, height is might. So that's why I wanted a 10 meter version or a 33 foot, whatever it is. So I guess I should say this now. I spoke with Jason from Gigaparts the other day. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but the 30 meter mast is in production.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, not 30 meters, 30 foot.
30 foot.
I don't know if it's going to be 10 meters or 30 feet.
Does the 30 meter one fit in a backpack?
No.
That would be sweet. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's 100 segments.
So the vendor that makes these is now telling us that they're not able to make a 30-foot mast collapsible to the same height that 18 or 16 inches, whatever it is, the 20-foot one is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be about 60 centimeters tall, which is just under 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be the same diameter as the K8MRD signature Gigaparts carbon fiber POTA 20 mast.
Oh,
so that's kind of a bummer.
That's great. No, that's good. As long as it fits in a rollerboard, that's fantastic.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I think my rollerboard is a 22 inch, so it probably wouldn't fit diagonal, would it? If it's 24.
I don't know what a rollerboard is.
Just a standard
overhead compartment suitcase for an
the two
airplane.
wheels on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's less. It's 23 and a half. 60 centimeters is 23 and a half inches roughly.
Okay, it might fit at an angle.
So
yeah, it might.
My goal was to have a 30-foot mast that, when collapsed, was the same size in height as the 20-foot mast. I said it can be wider. I'd make it wider. I don't care.
I agree.
Make it fatter.
Mm-hmm.
But they, for some reason, and this is the same company they use to make their fiberglass masts, and for some reason they can't make a carbon fiber mast fatter, but keep the collapsed height the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I'm like, well, if they can do it with fiberglass, why can't they do it with carbon fiber? But apparently they can't.
Well,
so.
what is there's a standard vertical on a rollerboard. If they could just get it in that sweet spot, like just whatever the max is, just explore the space. You know what I mean? Like if we said somebody tell me in the chat, like what's the vertical on the long side of a rollerboard? 22 inches. Just give me as much as.
Well, but
give me as much mass
diagonally. That's not measured top to bottom.
I want top to bottom. I don't want a diagonal. I hate that.
Then you're only looking at about maybe 20 inches.
Right. So whatever the max is on that vertical expression, just explore the space and give me the longest thing you can fit in there. That's what I want. That's the perfect, and I want it exactly like Mike's right here, where it's got the eyelet and it has a very robust top segment. That top segment and then all the subsequent ones are very robust, and that's what makes it so good. That's what makes it the winner.
Yeah, but I want one that'll deploy a Rybakov, which means not carbon fiber.
Okay.
Well, I won't wait then. I'll get the 20-footer, and then I'll probably end up doing what Grayman POTA said is, and that's buy both.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I got a really good question because Ken Morrison is watching right now. So I'm gonna add my thoughts really fast, and I'm gonna pass it off to K6ARK. So he's asking, what's best for hiking in Colorado Rockies, a portable ham or Garmin Mini 2 communicator? So those are two separate systems, right? The Garmin is something you pay for month to month, like $16. It is a satellite communicator. That's something you can depend on. If your life was on the line, you hold down that emergency button, get your information out. That's like the worst case scenario. For just getting like a text message to loved ones, depending on your level of service, it's great. It's fantastic. If your loved ones are ham radio operators, then a ham radio might be okay, but it depends on how far they are from where you're trying to talk. A lot of times when we're doing Parks on the Air and Summits on the Air, we don't have a specific target in mind. We're trying to make contact with anybody. And while you could put your faith in randomly finding a ham on the air saying, I need help, I broke my leg, get me out of here, I wouldn't necessarily want to depend on that. I'd much rather depend on a vertical shot to a satellite than some over-the-horizon shot if I'm down in the bottom of a valley with a broken leg. Might not be the option for me. So that's my quick thing. Adam, you have anything to add to that? I saw Adam. I don't know if he's
Not
actually
really.
on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Copy.
You're good.
All
You're
right.
good.
Sorry, I'm in the car driving down Cucamonga Peak. But, yeah, you generally nailed it. They're very different purposes. I would say you need both, right? Because you want your radio to go have fun in the mountains.
Right.
But for insurance from a emergency communication perspective, the satellite messaging device is by far the tool for the job.
There you go. Particularly when the chips are down and you need absolute help. You hold that button down, you're going to get help better than a ham radio would get you help in most cases. All right. Okay. Let's. Oh, someone going to say something? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Josh, I was just going to chime in, and I actually agree with Adam. Both, give yourself as many forms of communication as you can.
Yeah. Indeed. All right. Who's next? Anybody in the Discord voice chat who is joining us for the first time that would like to say hi or ask a question? We'll take them now.
I have a question. I'm in a
Ghost. Go ahead, Ghost. Oh, sorry.
I'm
You're
in
good.
a very mountainy area, and I was wondering how that affects like POTA, because I have a bunch of like parks around me, and I just want to know how that affects ham radio in general around me.
Like, would you mind telling me where you're at, and then like how prominent are these mountains? Are they huge? Like, what are we talking about?
Well, I can see them from pretty far away, and they're like medium sized to really big.
So how far away are we talking? Like 50 miles, 40 miles, that kind of thing?
I can look at that real quick.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Well, I'll give you my quick one on this one, and then I'll pass it off to whomever wants to jump in. So I have activated and used ham radio in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and made West Coast contacts with Pikes Peak being the other side between me and the West Coast, right? Pikes Peak is huge. It is a huge summit, and that whole mountain range that runs along that side is massive. It's fine. Is it great? No, it's not ideal in any case, but you're fine on HF. Now, for VHF, UHF, it'll totally soak up all the RF. That mountain is going to take everything out. If we're talking about some rolling hills in the background, probably not. So I'll open it up to other folks if they want to chime in on that.
I would say what really matters is the angle to the horizon. So if the mountains are so tall and so close that the angle to the horizon is like 45 degrees, it's going to be pretty hard to get out. But if the angle to the horizon is 10, 15 degrees, you're going to do all right.
Mm. Yep. I agree. Ghost, when you have some of those details, feel free to chime back in on what the summit is.
So I just looked because I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I have one really big mountain. It's the Great North Mountain, and well, right between West Virginia and Virginia, and then I can't remember what the other one is, but that one's like a medium-sized one.
Are you in Virginia or West Virginia?
Right on besides, I'm on the West Virginia side.
Oh, well, so if you're trying to make West Coast contacts, and it doesn't matter if Virginia is blocked off to you as much, but how tall in feet above where you're at could you estimate that summit is? 6,000, 8,000?
Let me look. I think I can look on the, what was it? The SOTA map website for it.
Really quick while you do that, I'll answer this question. Colo Ham says, Josh, what happened to Ham Nation? Nothing. The episode got posted as a standalone video and is up on my channel right now. I just couldn't do it live because I was in a hotel room.
In all fairness, you tried.
I did try. I actually packed with me an external monitor in my rollerboard. I could have used that valuable space for more radio. That could have been my KH1, but instead I packed that, and I don't know that I'd do that again.
As long as you packed it very securely, because I've done that before, and I've come back with a broken monitor.
Well, it has its own case, like a folio case that wraps around it, and then I wrapped my jacket around it. That did a pretty good job. I didn't pack anything hard against it, but yeah. So, Ghost, I think you're probably fine for East Coast contacts. You may have a difficulty of getting into Virginia and the northern seaboard there, the northeastern seaboard. But you're probably already too close to make contacts on 20 meters with that anyway. 40 meters might be workable. You could probably do a little 80 meter NVIS type stuff and get over to that side of the mountain if you're trying to do that. Adam, are you going to say something?
Yeah, my other suggestion would just be to go to the top of the mountain and use it as your tower.
There you go, because that's definitely a SOTA, I bet.
Real quick, Ghost, do you have a local ham club?
I think there's one, but I can't remember the name of it.
I would. It'd probably be worth a visit to one of their meetings and maybe talk to some other people there that are focus on HF, and they'd probably have better answers for you.
Okay.
Right on. Okay. Let me jump back into this really good question we got. A Discord user asked, what is the best antenna to use doing an urban POTA? If you can't string up a wire or use a spike, I'm looking to activate Independence National Park. So if that's Independence Hall, is that in Philly? So I was just there. I love that whole area. Philadelphia, by the way, we're going to record the podcast tonight. If I had to juxtaposition between NYC's historic areas and Philadelphia, give me Philadelphia's all the time. I love Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a great city. I love it. So Independence Park's actually really big. The only thing that I would do, just because like the intensity is really high of people that are keeping an eye on what's going on, is like let them know how, like, what you're doing, what you're planning on doing. You may even want to make like a phone call beforehand.
Oh, I have, and it's been like pulling teeth because they keep pushing me to different people. They push me up the flagpole, so I have to go back and try it again. But yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to try that.
So then here's my malicious, like, I will just do the thing and then beg forgiveness before asking for permission.
Right.
I would do a Wolf River coil tripod, the max one, so it's no holes in the ground. And I would put the 17-foot vertical telescoping whip on that. And then I would just bring an antenna analyzer, and then tune it for 20 or lower. And I would just use that. There are plenty of spaces. Like, you don't even have to use any of the bench. Like, you could bring your own chair, right? You could go to a grass area. There's a huge grass area in front of the Independence Hall that, like, no one's going to walk out there. Like, no one's walking out there. Make some really tight bundles of radials. Don't bring out those big 14-foot jobs. Like, take those 14-footers and cut them down in threes and then bundle them up. Make like just a ton of radials, like thin bundles of 4-foot radials, spread those out. I would do that, and I would just sit there. And then when they come up, I didn't bring it. Oh, I may have to run to my office and get it. But when I was at Hamvention 2 years ago, I got one of those little plastic cards that had my call sign and my picture on it and my FCC license on the back. That's what got me, like, lowered everything with that guard, that the federal guard that came out that was upset that I was at the at the African burial monument. He's like, so who are you with? Because you got the badge on, all that stuff. And I was like, I flipped it over and I'm like, oh, this is my FCC license. I blah, blah, blah. And he was like, immediately lowered the barrier. Like everything got lowered immediately. It was a full whacker thing that I did, but I was like, this solved all my problems. He looked at me completely different. Just slap one of those bad boys on you. Get like a crazy little badge that just says like, oh, I'm K6A, whatever your call sign is. It worked wonders. It was great.
Is it the one you were wearing in your video?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
I noticed that.
Yeah. That was
That's a great idea.
That was intentional. That was intentional. Yeah. So let me go back and see if I can find it. Hold on. Yeah, I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it right there. So everywhere I went where I had an antenna and a radio out, I was wearing that stupid little badge. Backside had the license on it, and I was like, "We're good."
US 07.
Just get a lanyard or a clip. I actually put that on my ID. I should put that on my employee. Attach it to my employee ID badge.
Yeah.
Because I used to work like a couple of blocks, like a block away from there, and they just moved our office down closer to Center City. So I'll have to. Yeah, I've been dying to try that. I just never had the chance to because I wasn't sure how to set up.
Yeah,
I'll definitely try that.
I can't say that I'm going to go with Grayman POTA on this one though. He dropped a link to where let me pull that up to a badge. I wouldn't do that. That's
no.
I'm not doing this. That is not okay. Do not do that. Do not have a shield. Do not do that. Just stick with the little plastic card. Trust me.
You should show him. You should show the other one he just posted.
Nah, man. Like, what has he got? Let me see. Yeah, see, no. No. Join us on the Discord if you want to see that. But that is... Don't do that. Just get the little plastic card. You'd be surprised how people just... It just disarms the situation. And then you hit him with the, I'm just out here practicing emergency communications. This is actually one of many parks that are identified as locations where, you could do communications from. There's nothing I said that was inaccurate there. Nothing I said was a lie. That's it. You're good. Adam, so going back, or anyway, actually anyone. Mike, if you want to chime in, whomever. Best antenna for doing urban POTA. Has anybody experienced that?
I think your option's good. What I've typically done is compact base-loaded verticals like you described.
Yeah.
My 3D printed one, which is kind of bright and obnoxious, pink and orange and stuff. But it's only 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall. And then, minimum radials, more radials, but much shorter length. It's going to be easier to deal with. Or like a KH1, that's kind of an optimum tool for that kind of job, too.
How about Mike? Any urban POTA you've dealt with?
The most urban POTA that I've done was in downtown Nashville, and I was still able to use the Pactena because I was in the middle of this kind of field/commons area type thing. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the issue with like an end fed or something is that it's long, right?
Right.
But a vertical needs counterpoise wires or ground radials, depending on the type. So you're still taking up real estate. So you kind of need to, if you're going to do that, and Josh, I was wondering if you were going to load up the scaffolding with your KX2.
I thought about
it. Just tape the center conductor to the metal and run a counterpoise some way.
I did think about it.
I would have wanted to try that. I'm sure you did. That's tough because you've got like the vertical obviously is just vertical, but then you still have the ground radials going out, which are, you can use a bunch of short ones or a few long ones, but you still got to have that where, although depending on, I did a POTA with a guy near here who he used the Zygu 5105 with the MFJ 19 What's that crappy antenna that you got to tap? The 1989 or something?
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
yeah. The MFJ, the $100 one. Remember that bad boy?
Yeah. He didn't even use a counterpoise. He just used the tuner in the X5105. Now, granted, he was doing CW, but he activated the park with the 5105 like as an HT.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like anything's possible. But yeah, that's POTA in an urban environment, especially where you were in New York with a million people walking around.
Yeah.
Probably not the Buddy Stick Pro with the elevated counterpoise.
No. Nothing that like looks like it can trip people or is going to be a problem. Would I recommend? I will say that like Federal Hall was something I wanted to hit, but I really wanted to activate the African Burial Memorial because there's only been 4 activations on that park. That was my number one hit. I did the Clinton Castle as like my testing the waters. I assumed I'd get that. That was a gimme, so I just started there. If I walked away with a failure of the other 2, I was fine. But I really wanted that African Burial Memorial. That was my goal, and I did it. But that was an AX1. I went with the AX1 because of the tuner on the KX2, and that was all FT8. All FT8. That was the only way to really get that done, from my point of view. It was just I wasn't getting out.
I will say this for me, and Josh, you've been to San Francisco, so you know how urban that can be.
Yeah.
I've taken the Chameleon TDL, the Tactical Delta Loop, and used it in downtown San Francisco with minimal issue. I'm talking financial district downtown.
Okay.
With minimal issues and I mean, yeah, you get the weird looks, but you know, as long as you I kept it up against the building, the side of a building, and just activated from there. And I got out. You know, I was able to get I wasn't doing a POTA, but I was able to get the contacts I wanted. And
Important question.
Yeah.
Were you running the spike? How did you mount it vertically?
I had a little clamp that I could use. The little, you know how buildings have those little ledges and whatnot, or a handrail. I just use a clamp and clamp it to that.
So that's for obviously if you're traveling, you cannot bring the spike, but the spike works really well. That big like 10-inch spike, you're not getting that through TSA, just straight up. So you need a clamp. You need a clamp. I wasn't able to find a really good resource on this. By the way, guys, this is like highly recommended, cheap option. I bring this up every it feels like every 6 months. So hold on, let me pull this up real fast. This stupid thing, it's a vice grip that they put angle iron on it. And they put a mount. That mount, the mount pitch is the same as the Chameleons, as ham sticks, whatever. And it's literally just a welded piece of angle iron with 2 holes on it. You can clamp that to almost anything in the city. And you can use that. You could mount your radial. Like you could literally clamp the radials in the jaws of the vice grip. You could set up a little loop connector, terminal connector for radials, whatever you want to do. That thing is like $23. That's expensive. You can get those at like ham radio outlet for like $12. I've seen them before. So that is a hot option. But you know what? I'll what the hell? I'll drop the link. I'll drop the Patreon link. So or not the affiliate code. You guys can check it out.
Yeah, just be careful you don't use that in a wooden bench. They may not like that.
No, I mean as long as you're not damaging it, it's just like, you know, it's barely hanging on there and you got the radials underneath it. It's a really good option and cheap option.
So
and it works.
Yeah.
For the short radials, how much feet should I give? Like maybe 3 or 4?
4 feet's reasonable from my point of view, but you want as many as you can cram in. So if you have a Wolf River coil, a lot of times you'll have like the 3 legs and you'll mount like a different. I hate that personally. I think that's like redundant. You can use like one with an Anderson's connector and a fairly stout piece of wire, and then just try and cram as many radials into that Anderson's as you can. Like go with one of the wider gauge ones, or you could do multiples of them. You can gang them up and like, I don't know. So if you had 4 bundles of 4, 16's not unreasonable to be able to gang up like that many radials. That doesn't seem impossible.
What about that tripod? HOA. I forget the name of the tripod. I've seen it on here before. HOA Ham first started plugging it. That you can hook up. That's like basically very portable. That
the chameleon one.
The chameleon one. Yeah. That's
So that's fine. Like literally any tripod. There's two experiences you're gonna have. So if it's a ham stick or it's like a Wolf River coil, that's like all driven element. So if you think about the tripod mount is all antenna. Like that's all part of it, right? So you'll have to key the radials off of whatever your coax connection is. So off of the tactical delta, or the tactical vertical from Chameleon, they've got a side spot where the actual coax connects into it, or on that screw. But if you're doing the 17-foot vertical, then you have to have some kind of separation to coax, and you just need to be on the shield side of the coax. So however you want to do that, that's the trick you have to do.
You sure that was the Chameleon or was it the Grable?
Oh, it's Grable. That's it. The Grable, right?
They both have options there. They both make different versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I may be the weird one of the bunch, but I activated the mall in DC.
Oh, we lost you. You activated the mall in DC? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, with a 60-foot end-fed half wave. If you just act like you belong there, nobody says anything as long as you're confident. Like, I didn't try to hide. I sat down at a bench in that little grove of trees.
Yeah.
And people walk by, just wave to them like you belong there.
Honestly, Eric, the mindset, dude, you're totally right. After years of making videos and doing like vlogs and everything like that, I just act like I'm just there. I don't act weird or anything like that. I'm just doing my thing. Everything's cool. You're fine. Like, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Just do it. Act like you're supposed to be doing it. Act like this is completely normal. Why are you the one that's like, oh, you're weirded out by me doing this thing? That's weird because I do this all the time. Why are you being weird about it? Like, totally a good point.
Yeah, and if you want a smaller setup, you can do, instead of like the buddy stick with the elevated radial, just do like a ham stick dipole with like in an L configuration. That'll work just fine.
Yeah, I'm just looking at I'm looking to go on a train, go on a train. It's the easiest way to get to from where I lived into at least old city Philadelphia. So if I could still drive in and park my car, I was just thinking of a way if I can just do a backpack or something, and I won't be like lugging all this stuff on the train to set up at the park. And also when I get off of the train, it's about like a 4-block walk.
In straight honesty, when Leia and I so there was really only one day that I was going to POTA on this trip. We were out there for days. When we got to Liberty, the whole Liberty Park area, I forgot how big the green space was under the trees in front of Liberty Hall, and I told Leia, I'm like, I'm about to run back to the bus and grab all my stuff and just activate this park because I'm here. I've seen all this stuff before, but I didn't because I wanted to be with the kids and all that and just kind of have a fun day of it. But it would have been no problem. Manhattan, New York City, north of the Battery area where I was doing the other activations, way harder than go nuts in Philly. I would have no problem. I would have no problem walking in there and setting up almost any antenna, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, it's like there's a couple trees in there. You probably could run like end fed.
Yeah, and then there'd be no wires anywhere. Like no wires anywhere. The line would be up in the tree. Like you could use a tree to tie off the end fed. Like if you did if you made your mast like right by you, right? Had it right by you and just wire wrapped it next to a bench or something like that, and then ran the long line out and then used the tree to keep it like 6 feet up, kind of thing. It wouldn't be by anybody. I don't think anybody. People will talk to you, no question. People will come up and talk to you, but it won't be a problem. I would not be worried about that at all.
Very good. All right, cool. I'll give it that shot.
Yeah, that's a good question because actually we should look that up. I should look up that park.
While he's looking that up, I'll leave it with this as far as people looking at you. we're hams. No matter what we do in public, unless you don't have a radio on you and you're not flashing any ham radio badges, or you're not nerding out in some way or another and they don't know the difference, you're always going to get looked at funny if you have a radio. Period. Yeah. Point blank. So
just assume people are going to look at you weird and they're going to come up and ask you questions, and that's kind of why you're there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I want to go. Yeah, exactly. I just want people to ask the question.
Oh, Edgar Allan Poe is another dude. I'd be blowing that thing up. All right, let me pull this up.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. So why not just leverage the people who've done it before, like leverage their knowledge, right? So this dude. Okay, by the way, this K0BAK guy, I reached out to him because he's activated all the Manhattan parks at this point. And he did a talk with the Long Island CW Club. I talked about it on the last week's live stream before we took the trip. This guy's a wealth of knowledge. You can reach out to him and you can contact him and talk through any of these things he's done. He got, how many contacts did he get? 81 contacts. 223 contacts as an activator in this park at Liberty Park. So that's who I would talk to. And I know what he might tell you. He runs a Man-Pack 100-watt radio with a freestanding antenna on the Man-Pack. That's what he does.
Cool. Okay, yeah, that'll be fantastic. Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, reach out to him. K0BAK. He was very forthright with information. Came back with a huge email with like a paragraph of info. He had pictures. He sent me the link to the Long Island CW Club talk that he did. He did a great job. Really, really cool talk he did.
All right, thanks, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really funny that he has the most. I'm not surprised. Oh yeah, we got the QRZ too. Hold on, let me pull that up. There's the man right there. Look at this guy. Specializes in mobile and portable activating, and he does. Dang, this guy's got all the awards. Holy smokes. Right on. All right, let's go back to the Discord. Who is here for the first time that would like to say hi or ask a question? Come now. Okay, any POTA questions? Open floor. All questions, go nuts.
I've got something, Josh.
AB.
Go Matt first, and then we'll go to the next one. That was the first one I saw.
All right. Quick question. The sites, how do you actually pick a site in the park?
Oh, that's kind of an interesting question. So I'll answer first, and because I think everybody's probably has a different flavor of this. We'll go with parks. I will look for where people are and where they aren't, and where I think people are likely to travel, right? So all parks, not all parks, but a lot of parks I run into have like a big green space in the middle, right? And if they're like trees in the green space, you might not expect kids to be playing some kind of ball game or anything like that, but it's still possible. So I'll try to use the trees to flank where I run the antenna, and I'll try and find like a bench or something that I can sit at, or a table that's by trees that I can get my mast with the wire up into the tree, or something separated from all that. Or I will completely remote myself way off that whole area where no kids will be, no strollers, no parents, no people walking around, and I'm still classified as in the park, but like there's always a bench that nobody wants to sit at because it has like sun. There's too much sun or there's not enough shade, so people don't really walk over there. Those are perfect. Just wear your sun garb and have a hat and all that stuff, and you'd be surprised how well that works. But yeah, what are some other thoughts? Guys in the chat, go nuts.
So I have a comment, Josh.
I saw John. Go for it.
So in terms of the being careful and not like trespassing on people's properties, I also hunt, and there's
wait. I'm sorry. Is it an answer to the question that was just asked? Because I don't want to get confused.
Oh no. Sorry.
Okay, then you got to hang on to that. So anybody have a comment on where you pick a spot in the park?
I try to go to the nicest but quietest looking corner of the park for at least up here in Northern California. A lot of them are, state parks. Like, okay, when you and I, when I got you as a POTA contact back in January, Josh, I was at California State Railroad Museum and Old Town Sacramento, which is a twofer, and I was right at the edge of the parking area in Old Sac, which is on the boundary of the State Museum. And I was there, and the only person that had a problem with it was some Kyle that came running by. By the way, Kyle's the male version of Karen, if no one knew that. That came by and thought that the antenna that was 20 feet above their heads was not high enough, and that it was a trip hazard at 20 feet in the air.
Right, because it would fall over and trip them, kind of thing.
Right, and it was secure. Both poles on either side, because it was an infed in a flat top configuration at 76 feet long. Both ends were very tightly secured, so there was no way it was coming down unless I brought it down or a truck taller than 20 feet went through it, because I was technically I was going across an area that is technically a fire lane, but it's actually the delivery truck entrance for Old Sacramento. And I'd gotten the park ranger's permission ahead of time. He's actually a ham, so he knew what I was doing. Rare, but it happens. But I try to find the quietest, most out-of-the-way spot so that I'm not bothering anybody. And then I can lay out my radials, because my shortest radials for 40 meters, if I want to do 40, or something like 16 feet long.
So I'm going to add Snowcone's thought, and then I'm going to go to Mike and hear his thoughts, because I'm sure he's got some good ones. So Snowcone says, least noisy place I can find away from buildings. Really good point. I've picked up and moved locations because of noise. And you'd be surprised, like even in a park, go 100 feet in one direction, and some of that noise will be completely gone, because local RFI is local. So you can avoid it by just straight up moving. So really, really good point from Snowcones. I didn't even think about that. Mike, how about you? Where do you pick your POTA spots if it's a busy park?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, away from people. But one thing I could add to that would be, like, when I go to a new park that I've never been to, I'll drive around the whole thing. And you're looking for, not necessarily, I mean, the day use areas are or can be a good place to go. In Huntsville State Park, where I predominantly go, the day use area doesn't actually see a lot of day use. Everything action's kind of where the camping sites are, and there's a beach and everything, and a boat launch and all that. So, like, if you see my videos, I often refer to it as the K8MRD Proving Grounds, where I'm doing videos of whether I'm reviewing a product or just doing a POTA. That site specifically is kind of one of the least desirable picnic benches for the day use site, because it's right on the road and it's at the very end, and there's a dumpster 50 yards away, and but it also happens to be one of the higher spots in the park. So you drive around, kind of get a layout of the topography, look for trees, look for areas where, keep in mind what antenna you have and how are you going to deploy that. So are there areas that are big enough to facilitate your antenna and you physically being there, whether you got to sit on the ground or maybe there's a picnic bench or something, just kind of scope out. I mean, I know for me personally, when I got my ham radio license, something changed physically with me. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. When we drive around after we get our ham radio license, we start looking up.
Yeah.
And we start looking for antennas.
Yeah.
And we start looking for places to put antennas. So, keep that in mind. Again, with the ground radials, keep in mind where you're going to be. Are people going to be walking through it? Earlier, when I talked about when I go hiking, where I set up my antenna, my 40-meter end-fed half-wave, it actually goes, I'm sitting on one side of the trail, and the mast is on the other side of the trail. And there's people hiking and biking and walking and everything else underneath, and they have no idea. They see me talking into the microphone and hear me, obviously.
Right.
But I don't think I've ever had a single person notice the actual wire. They might see the mast in the tree. But again, I'm using SOTA beams. I actually just ordered another roll today. The SOTA beams 26 gauge high vis
Good
yellow
stuff. Yep.
wire.
Really good stuff. Yep.
Is $25 after shipping. Like, how can you not? It's amazing wire. So yeah, you just kind of got to scope out where you are, hope for the best and pray for the worst. If there are people around you, you got to make your antenna, especially if you're using a wire antenna, you've got to make it visible. So I've been activating sometimes in the day use area, not the same place that I go to now, but this is earlier when I moved to Texas. Same day use area, but different picnic bench. I've actually taken pine cones off the ground and hung them on the wire at, certain distances. So there was, 4 or 5 pine cones hanging on the wire. So anyone that walked through there would know.
That's a really good idea.
Hamgenuity, man. You gotta figure it out.
I love that, Mike. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a little human
bringing that orange streamer thing. It's like if you don't see this pine cone hanging in the middle of the air,
right,
and think there's something going on,
That's such a
and then
idea.
Jody says you got to tune the pine cones. So, but I'm in a pine-infested forest at Huntsville State Park. So, or take small twigs or something, pine needles, whatever, leaves. Do whatever you can to make your antenna visible, even if you're using that high-vis yellow wire. Like I've said a million times, and I've experienced. If you're ever lost in the desert, put up an antenna, and people will walk through it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it happened to me.
Yep.
So you just do everything you can do. Be a good ambassador to ham radio, and try your best to. Or if you see people, say, hey, guys, there's a wire there. Watch out. Anything. So, but yeah, stay away from people.
So, Mike, what you're saying is I need to put all the pine cones that my family has collected over the years to good use.
Why is your family collecting pine cones would be the bigger question.
They're weird, man. They're weirder than I am. No, actually, they're for Christmas decorations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I don't celebrate Christmas.
Do you have pine cones in California?
Right,
Yeah. Look, you guys understand how big California is? You're being offensive. Come on now. We have so many different kinds of trees in California, including ones that drop pine cones.
So I just went through a couple hundred photos on the.
Oh, we lost him. Really quick, let me dive in here really fast. There was a question, what is that mast that I was showing while Mike was talking? By the way, that is Mike. He was the one that was talking. That's Mike's POTA 20 mast. I have the link to his link code in my video description. Go show him some love. They are taking pre-orders. To be honest with you guys, you should just probably get on the pre-order if you want it right now. They're impossible to get, so just get on the pre-order and they'll get it to you as soon as they can. They're in the works right now to get them. And I think, Mike, you may want to talk about this. You kind of mentioned supply is somewhat limited and futures unknown. Is that correct?
No, it's just the development of the 30-foot mast has changed unbeknownst to us. But
so
no,
20's fine. They're going to have plenty of 20. Plenty of 20.
Well, they've got the next shipment. So the first shipment of 250 sold out in like a day.
Because we all bought them.
Well, that was 25 when we were at Hamvention.
Yeah, they were gone.
Like a week later, Jason from Gigaparts told me they're taking pre-orders. So I made a video saying they're taking pre-orders, and he called me the next day and he's like, yeah, there's like 20 left. So everything on the shipment that's coming in, let's say soon, those are all sold out. So we're taking pre-orders. By we, I mean Gigaparts. they're taking pre-orders on the next 250 that are coming in, which would be probably another 8 or 10 weeks out, I would guess.
Nice. Very good.
So, yeah, so just get in line and wait. I ordered a week or so ago one of those. They were at 4 Days in May when we were all there at that vendor night. Mm-hmm. What the hell is it? That tiny the QMX thing?
Oh yeah, QRP Labs.
Yeah, I ordered one of those, but I ordered the. I wanted them to make it because I'm sure I'd screw it up.
It's not for the. It is a proper intermediate kit for sure.
Yeah, and I know that I wouldn't do it right, so I'm like, I'll just pay you guys the extra $50 or whatever. And it's like 7 months out, so it's just like order it and forget about it, and then one day you'll open your mailbox and you'll be like, "Oh my God, it's here!" Except the mask won't take that long.
There you go. And I do want to. Okay, so here's something I'm signing Mike up for that he's not ready for necessarily. The mask doesn't say K8MRD on it. How come? So I want everybody to bring their mask to the Hamfest, and I want you to ask Mike to sign it, and then you can have a Mike K8MRD special POTA 20 mask. And then
I'll bring my Sharpie.
There you go. So I want to see people roll up to Mike and have him sign the mask because of the development time he put into it. And then you can go home and you can ask your significant other for some clear coat, and you can put it on there and it'll lock it in.
There you go. Or the better thing, because I don't know how a Sharpie would last on that. Maybe we put a ham radio tube sticker on it, and then I sign because my autograph, my signature, air quotes here,
3 dBs
is nothing but just a little bit of school. It's like to me it looks like an M and a D, and that's it. Because my last name's Dahlhofer, dude. I ain't spelling that out every time. Are you kidding me? Screw that.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
I think that's a cool idea.
Clear shrink wrap. Clear shrink wrap. Have him sign it. Maybe get the sticker on there. Hit it with a clear shrink wrap. It'll survive traveling, all that stuff. Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say this. I love this mask a lot. I'm not even kidding. He deserves all the respect, all the development time that went into this. Support to both him and Gigaparts is totally warranted here. It is affordable. You should get it. I'm not even... This is not me shilling it all. It is literally from me using it. It's really good. You can go watch my 1 pound POTA challenge. It's the mast I used. It was in heavy winds. I was literally using a screw thing for a beach umbrella, and that held that mast up perfect. The masts were great. Nothing but love. Nothing but love for you, Mike. It was a great job.
Josh, I'll be the shilling guy for you. In all honesty, I wish I could have made it to Hamvention so I could have gotten one. I have one on order, so I'll be fine. But I'm especially waiting for the 30. Yeah, I'm
coming to Huntsville.
Mike here, the 30-meter one. I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so. We'll see what happens though. But I did send you a message.
So I wrote on mine at Hamvention my call sign in Sharpie, and it's still there. I had it out with me in Vegas last week, and it's still on there solid.
I put my name on that thing immediately because there were so many people rolling around with it. I'm like, I'm not losing this thing. I wrote my name on it immediately when I got it.
You know what I lost, Josh? And I saw it in your what did I get from Hamvention? Was the patch.
Which patch?
The what is it? I'm an influencer. Trust me, something like that, or trust me, I'm an influencer.
You're welcome.
I lost that. I have no idea where. I've torn every bag that I had with me, and it's gone.
Hiking and Hammond's in the chat. I got so many comments on that Hiking and Hammond, because I put it right on my little chest rig, and so many people saw that and like, that's ridiculous, and I'm like, it's hilarious. Yeah. It's great. So thank you for that.
I did want to say, Frank, don't feel bad about not getting one because I was at Hamvention and I didn't get one of those masks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I still feel bad. I know it was limited, but still.
Carlos was best salesman of the year. I wasn't at the Mike video that was recorded at Jason's trailer, but I saw Carlos, and Carlos in 5 seconds sold me on that thing while walking past me, and no stop in any of it. He's like, it's the same size as the Carbon 6. You pull the thing and it comes out. And I was like, okay, is it robust? He's like, look at the end piece. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. And I ran right over and bought it. That was it. That was great. All right, let's open this back up to the folks on the Discord. Any question anywhere? Let's get back to some POTA chat if we can. POTA or SOTA? We love them both. We think they're amazing. So who's in there with something for questions? Go for it.
I have my comment now, Josh. If it's
go for it. Go for it. Oh, so, yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry. What I was saying was that I also hunt on top of doing parks on the air and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I use to make sure that I'm safe when I'm doing like stuff that's out in the middle of nowhere or something like that, I use a program called Onyx Hunt. Now, it obviously does have a subscription, but you can have it overlay private and public property. So this way you can see public easements and stuff like that.
When I'm hunting, the thing that I like for protection is a 454 Casull. Thank you very much. So drop the link in the Discord and then everybody on YouTube will hit it. So this shows you public versus private land.
Yeah, but it's a yearly service that you have to pay for a year.
How much is it
for most people? It's like $100.
Oh
for
my
most
God,
people, it's not going to be
for a cheap
worth
ham. Cheap hams aren't going to buy that. We'll spend $2,000 on a radio.
Subscription.
Go ahead.
Most of the subscription mapping software has the same thing. CalTopo has it. I think Gaia GPS or Gaia Maps was recently bought out by, I want to say it was Onyx. Backcountry Navigator was another one I had that I still use, and it has the public and private land overlays. So if you already have a mapping application that you like, search around in there. Odds are it has it in there.
Very good. There's a really good question from W4DPE. I'm waiting for it to come in here. Yeah, there it is. So the discussion about ground radials earlier. Are there guidelines for using straight, coiled, other shapes, mixed, etc.? So one of the guys that I just trust everything he says when it comes to ground radials is Callum, right? Lord Callum, DX Commander. And that's because his antenna fundamentally requires a radial system. And so if you look at the directions in you can just download the directions if you want to off his website. So let's say you had a retaining wall and you wanted to put a DX Commander up against it. Well, you obviously can't get the radials on the other side of that retaining wall. So what does he say? He's like, take the same amount of radials and just spread them in that 160-degree arc that you have. Just get them down is the important thing. They can be coiled, they can be whatever. Just get them down, right? And particularly if you're portable, your stuff's going to be all coiled up and ridiculous. My wire that I put up for my AX1, all kinds of ridiculous, all over the place. I moved it around every time I touched it. I had to retune the KX1, or sorry, the KX2. That's just part of it, right? And actually, it's kind of a fun thing you can do is move the radial around when you're doing your activation. If you don't think you're getting out very well, move the radial and then retune or, do whatever you got to do and see if that improves things. Odds are it might work really well. I credit the last 3 contacts in the African burial monument was actually the guard telling me, you can't be too close to the guard shack. People might come up and shooting this place up, and you can't be here. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'll move on down. And I literally told him, I'm like, go stand where you want me to move the radio. Then we're good, right? And he stood there, and I'm like, no problem. I moved the whole kit, the whole thing down, set it up right there. I was way out, out in the opening. And actually, I got more contact. So fine. It worked out great. It wasn't a problem. So, yeah. Now, this is also a very good question. Same one, kind of. Same person. Do you use the radials for directionality? So radials are only directional when they're elevated. They don't really. I guess some would argue that they do have some directional if they're on the ground. If you only have like one.
Marginally.
Marginal. The
I've
vertical.
taken the Wolf River coils and put all 3 radials facing west and.
Yeah. So
I might have gotten a little bit more, but not really.
So if you had something like a Buddy Stick Pro with the elevated radial and you did move that around, you would get some directionality out of it. But if it's a ground-mounted radial, it's not going to do that much. It's not going to change that many things. I tell people, though, if they're using one of those, like, MFJ is now a foregone conclusion here, but if you're using one of those like tapped MFJ antennas or you're using one of those mono band MFJ antennas, the best thing you can do for that antenna is put a crap load of ground wires underneath it. Big old bundles of a ton of radials, like 10 footers, 10 strands of 10-foot radials, or just divide that by 4 and do 4 footers or whatever. Just a huge bundle, just lots of radials. The more radials you have underneath a portable station in particular, you will do very well. Even on some of those weird compromised base-loaded verticals, they will do very well. I have a live stream where I literally had 3 of them, and we tested it with a very good ground plane. Lots of wires. And they all did really well. Like, way better than I expected. Way better.
And I just dropped it again, just be safe. DX Commander, Lord Callum's link to his PDF on radials, and I referenced which page it's on. It's on page 10 of the PDF.
There you go.
If anyone wants to go look.
But you should also go watch his videos. His videos cover it in greater detail. Go ahead, Gray Man.
Yeah, is the storm door screen ground plane still a thing?
Yeah. So screen door radial, EMP cloth radial, those are all really good options. Because if you think of like what is a radial doing, it's trying to give you big surface area for the other side of the antenna, because that's kind of what a quarter wave vertical is doing. You have a quarter wave element in the air, freestanding in the air. But then you put all these wires underneath it, and the wires take ground losses and all this other associated stuff. If you use something like a ground cloth, like a Faraday cloth, an EMP cloth, that's giving you a huge surface area, a big old surface area that works as the other side of the antenna. I don't have evidence to support this, but I usually go with a higher gauge wire when I'm jumping from the antenna shield side, coax shield side, feed line shield side, to the cloth. I go with something that's higher gauge. Again, yeah. Oh, Jason KD9ZHF is asking, can I recommend a brand of Faraday cloth? I can't recommend a specific brand. So there's something I've been working on, and I haven't got much traction on it right now, just because of my lazy butt. But I am working on something like that, and I've been testing different types of Amazon EMP cloth. I can't tell you what the best ones are for this right now, but if you look up EMP cloth on Amazon, those will work. It's almost relative on which one is better or worse at this point. I don't know if anyone is marginally better than the other, but they're all available on Amazon. You can find them. Take my link in the description for my Amazon store and just search for EMP cloth. It'll be good.
I still think you need to have Leia sew you a pair of pants out of the EMP cloth for your pedestrian portable KH-1 activation.
Okay, so the thing I'm working on, I've already got my mom involved in it. She's a quilter, and I have the prototype. You can actually see it on that citrus POTA that I was mentioning. And in fact, I'll spoil it a little bit. What the hell? Where is it?
Can she make me a Faraday cloth pair of cargo pants, cargo shorts?
Yeah. So let me go back here. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, so if you check this out, my mom made something. I will show you now. So I'm using the chameleon antennas, center loaded, kind of, and it clips on. It's not center loaded because the coax plane. My new magic carpet radial system. There's my magic carpet. We lay this out. High vis on one side, camouflage on the other, alligator clip in, and it's for a vertical like a Wolf River or something like that,
Blends
it's
in
awesome.
with the ground. And now we got to get a radio going as fast as possible here. Oh, you know what? Let's just tune up.
So that's on my. You can just go watch it on my channel. It's not like secret information, but yeah. All right, we got it opened up. We do want to hear everybody's POTA question. So is everybody? Hopefully we broke the. Oh, Kyle's joined us. Kyle, are you on mic? Uh-oh. Well, he unmuted, but I can't hear him. You have to set a PTT. Hold on. Actually, don't set it. I'll just unlock you. I will unlock your power. Hold on. Oh, no, you already got it. You should be PTT free. Well, Kyle, while he gets his stuff straightened out, let's see. I'm going to take a quick break here. We're going to say hi to some of our friends. So Bill, Ham Radio Tectonics is in the house. How you doing, man? Why don't you give us your why don't you tell us a little bit about your POTA station? I know you're a POTA activator, so give some recommendations of folks who are starting out. Maybe not what you use now, but what you would recommend people.
Wow. That's a big responsibility.
Sorry, to kick it off. Break the ice, Bill. You got it.
Break the ice, Bill. Stick your neck out and pretend you know something.
Nah, you got it.
I am fond of the I'm do mostly CW now, but I'm fond of the QRP Labs radios, the QCX and the QMX. The TX yes, the TX500 is a good radio, but there's a lot of controversy about the longevity of that radio because of the chip. But the IC705 is a fantastic radio if you do that. I don't have any experience with the G90, but I like CW, and I also do SSB, but you have to, it's what you always say, what's your budget, and then hunt around and listen to everybody and make a stab at it and give it a try, see what you like, and maybe you'll like it, and maybe you'll move on to something else.
Very strong words of wisdom. I highly recommend everybody, before you go out into the field, test your stuff at home. Like, set up your station in your front yard. Because, again, you're probably more constrained in your front yard than you're going to be in a park. So set it up, make a couple of contacts, maybe chase some POTAs, and then now proof of concept, there you go. Now you can take it to the field. That's always my recommendation. So I love that, Bill. That's great. All right. Next is...
And of course, the L-Craft radios, either the KX3 or the KX2. I don't have a KX2, but I think that's an awesome little radio.
Yeah.
But I started out, I didn't know any better, QRP with a KX3, and you almost can't go wrong with that other than the pocket emptying effect it has.
Yeah. Yeah. The KX2 is now one of the best super portable radios that you can bring with you to do all modes. It is so small. It's such a good radio. It's quirky. It's really quirky. I'll be honest with you. If you don't use it a lot, you could get confused. But the KX2 it's a very good receiver. I'll use it in my hotel room to just pick up like shortwave stations, AM stations. It's fantastic. Great points, Bill. Love the idea of QRP Labs. As a CW operator, even better. By the way, I didn't do enough, like a hard enough recommendation on that. Please consider Morse code if you are doing summits on the air or want to do summits on the air. Trust me, you will get so much value out of that. And when we get to Adam here in a little bit, I'm sure he will add more thoughts to that. But CW is where it's at. All right.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, I'd love that. Go ahead.
Bill, since I purchased the QMX a week or two ago, I've since watched all of your videos on them, and I'm wanting more. So would you please do more videos on them, just for me?
If I was a real YouTuber, I would have done them because they're some of my most popular videos. That it's an awesome little radio, and I had it's got AGC issues that I'm sure they're trying to fix, and somebody else can tell you.
Make a video about
I haven't. I've only experienced it once, and I just ride the volume button. I don't care because I'm enamored with that radio. I like small stuff, and I like engineering that works. And that guy puts together stuff that works. So maybe I'll take it out tomorrow and do some more. But I don't. I'm not an engineer, so I don't have much more to say other than it's awesome.
Just go out and use it. Just show us doing it at CW. Set up for some FT hate. And make a video so I can see more about it until 7 months from now. Maybe I'll get it by Christmas. I'll have mine.
Well,
That's
Mike,
my request.
I'll see what I can do for you, man.
Thanks, buddy. I love you.
Jody just said we got 91 new Long Island CW members since my live stream with them like a week or two ago. I'm telling you, if you have a busy schedule like I do, the Long Island CW Club is the best way to learn. They're not only constantly revising their training methods to make them the most effective as possible. Go watch the live stream, trust me. But they have a flexible training schedule. You can hop into almost any class you want, and you keep rolling, and it's great. That is taking away nothing from the other CW platforms that you might learn better with. They're all great. We respect them equally. But me personally, Long Island CW Club lines up with my lifestyle more than anybody, so that's why I support them as much as I do. So check them out. Highly recommended. And yeah. So, okay. Next is Eric. How you doing, man?
You skipped one.
Oh, no, I did. Rob, Digital Rancher. I did. Thank you. Keep me honest, Frank. I thought I did that in my head because I started saying it. How's it going, man? Are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Just relaxing, watching the stream tonight, enjoying the stream. It's a great topic, though. I had actually just dropped a video today of myself and my better half, Trina, Kilo India 5 Yankee Yankee Lima, going out for her very first POTA activation. Now, she's a tech, so we had to attempt it on 10 meters. And so she got a chance to see what 10 meters can be like when it's not great, and it wasn't great whenever we were out trying to activate. But she got to contrast that with 20 meters, and I think that may have lit the fire to get her back on track at looking at her general.
Yeah, I saw this show up. I think that's super cool that your wife was willing to get out there and be on camera. Leia does not want to be on camera. Oh, look at that. Look at that water bottle. That water bottle right there. Ham radio tube, Smoking Ape, my sticker. Quirky QRP, look at that. I didn't even notice that the first time I watched it. Holy smokes. So yeah, this is really cool. This is a cool video.
Right there, you got it on the Yeti.
That is super cool. I'm gonna drop the link for that video because it's a really good one. So yeah, what else is coming up in your future there?
Well, I'm starting to think about putting together that SAT pack that I got from M Squared at Hamvention. So that's probably the next big project, is to get the satellite ground station set up.
I love it. Excellent. I got to get myself together and do a green cube setup. This is it's crazy. I got to get on that. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, you got the reprieve, right? So Green Cube's going to stick around. So
yeah,
take advantage of it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. All right. Next is Eric, KH6WI. How's it going, man?
Good. Just got back from the mainland trip. I spent a month on the mainland. So just got back to Hawaii, did the FT8 contest for the ARLDX. So looking at the online.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, sorry. My PTT button's kind of going in and out.
I'll fix that for you post haste.
Yeah, I did the ARLDX contest. So it looks like I might be coming in, at least if the online scoreboard is accurate, second in the for all the whole world. So that'll be pretty cool. So just waiting for results on that. Coming up,
Oh, I lost you. So, by the way,
Oh.
after you talk right now, you can go into your settings and turn off the PTT, and you're granted no PTT right now. So you should be good.
All right. Yeah, I'll just have to keep an eye on the little green circle until then. Yeah, so pending the results, it's looking like maybe second place globally for the FT8 contest. And coming up, I'm going to start working on a video for my work.
Oh, we lost him. There he is.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to be working on a video talking about how I did worked all states on satellite in 21 days. And what it takes to do that, because that might be one of the fastest runs. So I'm just going to try and go through all the things and basically how to make friends on satellite so they're willing to put in effort to help you out when you need some help.
And is that Green Cube?
So I did that from Wisconsin with FM, sideband, and Green Cube satellites.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds great then. Oh, I love that you're like mixed mode then. That's super cool using FM birds and Green Cube. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did a lot of FM and sideband from the mainland because it's just, I don't get to do it a lot in Hawaii since the coverage just isn't there.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. I'm gonna drop a response to a question really fast. Question from a new ham here. What is a decent radio and antenna setup for home and in the car? So you left out a couple of things, so reply back. One, what bands are you trying to operate on, and what is your budget? Very important for us to be able to answer you. So hit us back up on that. Make sure you put question in there, and we'll try and get to it. All right. Next is Frank. YouTube's Frank. How's it going, man?
Oh, if you were going off the list, it would be myself, and that would. Yeah. Good evening.
I determined that when you said myself, you meant you. So.
Yeah. I guess.
Were you trying to trick me, Frank? Was that what you're trying to do?
Sure. That's. What
I know how
do.
scripts and words work.
There you go. That's the way to do it. All right. So tonight. Lots of good fun and lots of good info on the POTA and SOTA. And yeah, chasers are definitely SOTA, Josh. We all know this.
The fact that we have a distinction there is like, you all know what I
Right.
mean. You all know what I mean.
You know, semantics. Let's see here. So last night I had my monthly question and ask me anything. So instead of a Q&A or an AMA, it's a Q and AMA. And lots of fun, lots of good questions got answered. Gave a shout out to you and I think Lord Mike there once or twice in the chat for sure. Tuesday, I have a video coming out about the Tiny SA Ultra. There have been some videos, without spoiling too much, there have been some videos lately where hams have not set up their Tiny SA for proper harmonic testing. So I decided to make a video on how to properly do that.
Don't be picking on Ape.
Oh, no.
Did I screw up, Frank? Did I screw up?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm not going to name names. I'm not a name dropper.
Because I'm using that tomorrow. I have a.
I have fun. Okay.
Well, I'll just I'll spoil some of the swag that's sitting on my table here. Look at this chungus. What is going on? Look at this thing. Look at it. Why? It's so big. It's so big. Look, here's a comparison to KX2. What is happening?
Just as long as that's not the one Jason dropped in his street.
If Jason dropped that on his street, the street has been irreparably damaged.
Oh,
That is a huge radio.
He did a video a little bit ago. He did a video a week or so ago. Well, posted a week or so ago.
Yeah, he reviewed this. He reviewed this. Yeah. So if it's that, I'm assuming it's that one. That is a ridiculous radio. It is ridiculous.
I was carrying that.
Right. That reminds me of something from 1982.
Yeah, I was going to say I was carrying those around in the 90s.
Yeah. So now that's where we're at with Baufegs. That's the current steez.
Yeah, They weren't Baofengs then; they were Alinkos, because Alinko was the Baofeng of that day.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, absolutely.
Before they went full crazy skinny credit card style. But sorry, Fred, go ahead.
Right. Oh yeah, no problem. And Taylor wants to know if that came out of Pablo Escobar's plane. Who knows?
It might have. It might have.
So anyway, I did the Q&A MA last night. I have a tiny essay video coming out Tuesday. Thursday is my usual NorCal swap at 10 Central, 8 p.m. Pacific, because most everyone is in Central or Eastern time zone. And then Friday, I'm keeping a surprise, but those of you who've been paying attention know what's going on. I'm going to have, right now I have for sure 3 people waiting to come on. I'm going to have a very interesting roundtable type live stream next Friday at 6 Central, 4 Pacific, specifically Pacific. So you might want to, if you aren't subscribed already, I just dropped my link. You might want to subscribe. The thumbnail's probably going to drop that morning. That's how tight roped I'm going to be about this one. But it's been in the stages of planning for the last 10 days or so now here, and I'm absolutely gonna. It's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be interesting. And I have been polling across all social media to see if people want me to try and live stream a little more, and what do they want to see. And so I'm gearing up with that as well. So with that, and then of course Tuesday night, my video is dropping during the Tuesday night video premiere with Grayman POTA and Lou over at Hiking and Hammond, and Mike N2MAK, and of course Carlos Life at Terminal Velocity, among a few others, leading up to Ham Radio Clubhouse at 7 Central.
Right on. Okay, very good. Appreciate it. Let's see. Somebody says, newbie question, how do I watch the video while I am on Discord? I am POTA stream in Discord. So if you're hearing me right now on Discord, you can mute the YouTube audio because you're getting it faster than YouTube's getting it. So that's the way. You can just watch the YouTube for the video, but there's a delay. I don't have like ultra low latency set up because it's... Don't turn on the audio. Just mute the audio. Oh, Jody, thank you for the link. That's also another way of doing it. So right on. Thank you very much, Frank. Appreciate you. All right, next is Tim Grayman POTA. How's it going, man?
Dude, I'm recovering from a 7-day bender in Vegas, but otherwise doing good.
Oh no, dude! I can't do that anymore. I'm done in that world. I go to Huntsville and I feel like I'm gonna die. By the way, anybody come out to Huntsville? Like, we have all these parties set up at the end of the night, and you got to be really careful. Like, it makes you think like you're 20 again, and you can drink all the beers and all that stuff. You can't do it. We're hams. We're old. You got to be way more judicious with your intake of liquids. But Tim, sorry, not taking away from you. Go for it.
Oh
man.
no, yeah, but it was it was a bunch of vendor events, and
so
man. A lot of that. But I was smart Saturday when I got in, and I had a rental car, so I got out to the desert, Red Rock Canyon, everything, and
nice.
did some activations. And so just to give a spoiler, my Tuesday night video will be my Red Rock Canyon activation.
How'd you like Red Rock? I loved activating that spot. It was great.
I like it, but to go back to that conversation earlier with the where do you find a place? I took the loop, and I went to one of the overlooks, and I went all the way back in the corner of the parking lot, and then I turned into the attraction, and I went ahead and packed it up, and I actually came back the next.
You are very
morning.
attractive, Tim.
It is, and I almost thought about taking my shirt off, but. Yeah, I had to stop there, sunburn. But I ended up coming back the next morning, bright and early, and got there before a lot of people. And actually, that Josh, if you're familiar with that parking lot where for the horse trailers out by the highway,
yeah,
I ended up setting up in there, and that was perfect.
So I'm gonna see if I can find this spot that I was at. No, you know what? It was my 817 or the 818 video. Is this? Oh no, how do I find it? How do I even find my own videos? I don't even know how I do this. So
Hey,
I was in Las Vegas for oh my goodness. Where the hell is it? I was in Las Vegas to do I was in a wedding, and my Shegu radio died. It was like DOA on arrival, my G106. And so I ended up going to Gigaparts in Las Vegas, and I bought the 818, and it was great. It was like I walked out to the POTA locations. I literally unboxed it in the field, and it was great. But I wanted to find it so I could show you how I set it up, because it was kind of
when was it?
funky. I don't know, 2 years ago now. God, when did I buy that thing?
Josh,
I
was
don't
this the one
know.
you did the fishing pole antenna with the 818, or was that another trick?
The one where I put it out on like the tree, where the tree was
Yeah.
growing. Yeah. That was it.
That
Yeah.
was it? Okay, yeah, I thought so.
It was a telescoping mast with just a long wire sweeping out to it. It was the Pactena, actually. Oh my gosh. Can't find my own videos. See, my titles are all screwed up if you can't find them. I think it was it a wedding comment? Did I mention wedding?
Yeah, I threw a link in the chat there, Josh. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about or not.
Probably
Almost
is.
failed. A wedding and a POTA. Yeah. This is it. I found it. Okay.
Josh, KI6NAZ. I'm in Las Vegas attending a wedding. And
So
of course,
I did take
radio's along with me.
the KMRD signature POTA 20 mast with me,
Yeah.
and fit in my suitcase fine. Got all my radio gear in there with me without any issues.
So, you ended up activating Red Rock no problem, or did you do any other POTAs or anything like that?
No problem. By that time, I had to scoot back into town to drop my rental car off. But so yeah, I spent the rest of the day the rest of the time out in Red Rock, and that was it.
Excellent. So I'm literally showing the video right now. I used one of those tree stakes in the corner there, like right there. They had these like spaces to prevent people from walking, and they use these pounded in stakes. So I just put my mast up against it and lashed it off with those twist ties that I always recommend. The Walmart, 20-foot rubber coated twist ties. You just cut to size that you want. Those are the best things ever. That's literally all I'm doing here. Is nothing complicated. Plumbed it into the radio, and I think I'm using the internal battery, which I didn't even understand how to use the internal battery. This radio is great, but the way that it does some of that stuff is just insane. They make it super, super complicated. Oh, I was using a Kearsaw. Oh, I was rocking the Kearsaw this time. How old? It was a year ago? I was still using a Kearsaw? Wow. All right, well, good knife regardless. All right, we'll mute there. Okay.
And that's a Nevada?
Yeah, that was K 2635. US 2635 now.
Seems like a lot of green grass.
Well, that's Spring Mountain State Park.
Somebody's saying it's Spring Mountain State Park. Okay, there you go. That's a good spot. There's actually like 3 POTAs like all along that little run through that road you can go on to look at the red rocks. I think I've activated all of them now, but that was the one that I ran out because I had like a day and it was 100 and something degrees and nobody wanted to go with me. So I was like, okay, I'm going on my own. See ya.
Yeah, I think I'll be back out there in August for another conference, so I'm sure I'll hit some more parks.
Right on. Very good. Well, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it. All right, next is Adam, K6ARK. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was driving. Are you still driving, man?
I am still driving. I went up Cucamonga Peak today, which is Ice House Canyon area, and I wanted to go play up there in the VHF contest because it has pretty good view shed of all of the LA Basin, down to San Diego, and even up into the high desert a little bit. So I activated up there with 7 different HTs for about 4 hours, and made, I would guess probably 150 or so contacts on 6 meters through 1.2 gigahertz, and including my first ever contacts on 900 megahertz. And I was able to work. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you say 7 HTs you dragged up?
I brought 7 HTs up the hill because so one of my lessons, yeah, it might have been overkill, I'm not going to lie, but one of my lessons learned from the last time I did the VHF contest was that I could have made a lot more contacts if I had more radios listening on more frequencies at any given time. So there were a number of 1.2 gig contacts where I just heard the squelch open on the 1.2 gig Alinco, and I was like, oh, hey, that's what, an 8-point contact or something right there. So picked people up that way, and it made it very easy to just say, hey, you have any other bands? You want to work 2 meters, 440, 220, and just pick up another radio and be ready to rock and roll and work any other band. I was able to get Austin and the crew at San Clemente Island on every band except every FM band except 900 megahertz. 900 megahertz was just too noisy, but yeah, it was pretty cool and a lot of fun operating up there.
Wow. Okay, so you went out there for the ARRL VHF contest, which is happening right now. I did not have enough time to get myself all squared away for that, but so what bands did you operate on or had the ability to operate on?
Yeah, so I had I'll run through all the rigs. I had Woshun Q10H, I think it is, the quad bander for 6 meter FM. I had, and that was running up to a roll-up J pole hung vertically from a mast. 2 meters was a Kenwood THK20A, which is a mono bander, and I built a custom battery pack for that, so it has more battery capacity because the stock battery on that really sucks. But of all the HTs I have and that I've used, that one has the best 2 meter receiver in it. It's very sensitive and it resists descents from high RF. So the Kenwood THK20A on 2 meters was feeding an extended double ZEP, which, by the way, is a new antenna project that I built a PCB for, and we'll likely have some of those out in the real world for people to play with. An extended double ZEP is kind of like a dipole, but rather than quarter wavelength elements off the ends, you have 5/8 wavelength elements off the ends. So you get about 3 dB over a dipole, 2 to 3 dB over a dipole with that. Pretty good broadside gain, and it's just an omnidirectional vertical. But the drawback to it is that it's center fed, so you have to deal with that. So I had that for 2 meters, and then for 220, I had the Alinco DJ G29, which is a 220 900 megahertz dual band handheld. Basically the most useless handheld that ever existed. You make almost no contacts on except in contests. And that got a bunch of good action on 220 and a little bit on 900 with just a diamond dual band whip on top of it. Had another Woshun dual band 2 meter 70 centimeter HT that I was running 440 on, and as kind of a backup for 2 meters. And then the DJ G7T, which is the Alinco that does 2 meters, 70 centimeters, and 1.2 gig.
Yeah.
And that was primarily the 1.2 gig radio. And then I had a backup 2 meter only HT, and then another 2 meter, 70 centimeter HT hooked up to my 3-element Yagi, which I only used a couple times, but it did come in handy.
That's awesome,
Adam,
dude. Go ahead, Frank.
Adam. I got one for you. I could probably bring that down to about 6 HTs for you. Replace one of those with the FT5D. I have snow cones over here in my DM spending my money. Apparently the FT5D can monitor everything, even HF. Makes me want to get an FT5D now.
Yeah, the drawback is that when you have a barn door wide open receiver, it tends to desense and doesn't work real well in high RF. Which when you have view shed of the whole LA basin, you got high RF. So
yeah, that is true.
And part of the benefit was being able to say, you want to try 220, and I just pick up the 220 radio and don't have to spin any knobs. It's right there, and I can see if it's busy. If the frequency's in use from the squelch indicator while I'm making that contact and coordinating the next one. So I just found that to be really useful to have. I think 5 or 6 would be sufficient. But I had a backup, and then the bonus with the Yagi as well.
Right on. That's very impressive. I love it.
That was today's activation. I filmed a little bit, but not much. So I'm not sure what the next video is going to be or when it's going to come out. I got a couple in the editing hopper, but I also don't have time to edit them right now. I'm heading up to Grand Teton starting next weekend, and I'm going to miss out on field day because I'll be traveling during field day. But yeah, we'll see. Got to take my mom out for a vacation up into Grand Teton, so that's going to be next the week after next.
I love it. I love it. So there was a question in the chat. What radio is the 1.2G? I think it's a Linko. Which one was it?
Yeah, it's the Alinco DJ G7T, Delta Juliet Golf 7 Tango. And I'm not sure if it's still produced or not, but it puts out, I think, 1 watt on, I think it does 1 watt on 1.2 gig. And so one of the craziest things today, I said I worked Austin and Heather and Marty over at San Clemente, 102 miles or so. And what was interesting was that pretty much the strongest signals were the higher bands. I don't know if there was something funky with like the marine layer that was causing 6 meters to not make it up to my mountaintop very well from them.
Yeah.
But and it varied significantly as the marine layer burned off. It got 6 meters got a lot better later in the day. So I found that kind of interesting.
So we got confirmation. Somebody's saying that radio from Alinco is still in production. So guys, you can still probably get it. If you can, drop a link, or if you're on Discord, drop the link. You can't do it on YouTube, but somebody, if you can find that, drop it on Discord so people can find it. But yeah, that's kind of a 2 meters 70 centimeter with a side 1.2 is pretty cool. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, it is, and I think it technically does full duplex on 2 meters 70 centimeter. I don't think its isolation is really quite good enough for to hear yourself on the downlink from a satellite unless you've got significant gain in your on your antenna and you're running lower power, so it doesn't self interfere as much.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing to note on that, there's actually a really good PCB log periodic antenna. It's just a printed circuit board antenna on AliExpress for like $10 or so, and I want to say it's like 600 megahertz to 3 gigahertz or something like that, or maybe it's 800 megahertz to 5 gigahertz. But it works really well with that radio. It gives significant directionality and gain.
There you go. Very good. All right, I love that. Well, thank you, Adam. That was really cool. 7 HTs on a mountain. Have you ever SOTA'd with 7 HTs on a mountain? Well, Adam has, continuing to extend his beyond capabilities. Getting out there on a summit with radios you would never take out there. I love that, and he did for the contest, which is super cool. So that's awesome, Adam. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate that, even while you're driving. So drive safe, and feel free to hop in if you want anything to add. Would love that. All right, next, I'm gonna go back to Kyle AA0Z. Is he still in the chat?
You got me? 5'9"?
I do. So Kyle, here's what I want to do. I want to do 2 things. One, I really need to use the restroom. So I'm going to throw it to you, and I want you to talk about what's going on in your channel. And tell us also, like, what your POTA setup is, because I know you do a fair bit of the POTAs as well, right?
Yeah. So, my channel, you search my call sign, you'll find my channel. I do a whole lot of quirky things, Node-RED, contesting, but I've been getting into, got this new CW Operators Roundtable, which I'm a new CW operator. I've only been doing CW for a couple of years. And I've got different guests on. I host that every other Monday night. I'm sorry, every other Monday week. And this week we've got Liddy from the Long Island CW Club. She is a brand new CW operator, and she's going to tell us all the things that she does to prepare to get onto the air. So should be a very good episode. And then I want to shout out to Digital Rancher. I watched your video, and you had a quote in there that absolutely cracked me up. You were talking about 3 minutes in. You said, "Okay, I'm going to spot you now." And you just go ahead and go through the motions, and once I spot you, it basically it's on, and I cracked up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, way to throw her in the deep end." She hadn't been spotted before, but now she's spotted. So it was a great comment and a learning experience and you did a great job, Rob.
Yeah, that was fun. I left her call a number of times just to kind of get her feet under her. I didn't want to throw her to the wolves right out of the gate, but hey, you got to learn to swim, right?
Right, right. It was great. It was that defining moment of, all right, now we're gonna take your floaties off. Now you got to swim. You know.
And I'm back.
Okay.
Perfect timing, apparently. So thank you, man.
Yeah. We're talking about floaties and swimming. We changed the conversation here, but this has been a great discussion tonight. POTA and SOTA. SOTA has been around a while, but POTA, ever since the National Parks on the Air, the POTA program has gotten so many new people on the air. It's just an awesome experience. And I hope that if anybody's thinking about doing POTA, that you do dive into it. It's an amazing place to hang out and call CQ on the bands. The website's great. It's a great program. I'm glad that it is. They're doing new and challenging things on the back end on that website, and from what I hear, there's some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. So it's a cool program. I highly recommend it.
Well, we got Red Summit RF joining us, which I got to give a shout out to him because we mentioned him earlier. So thanks for coming out, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, Kyle, I agree. And it's hard. It's one of those things, like, I don't think we can quantify the effect of Parks on the Air to the amateur radio hobby, but I think it's something that is beyond most movements in the hobby. Like, this is all grassroots, and I think it has grown the effect, particularly on encouraging people to get onto HF, than we've ever seen before. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah. I mean, between POTA and FT8, I mean, I can't think of any single thing that has gotten more people on the air and active, right?
Yeah. Oh, I agree completely.
Yeah. So, just real quick, my POTA setup. So my main rig is a KX3, which is a QRP. It can do 15 watts on single sideband and CW, but it started out as a QRP rig. So that is my main rig, and then I just built an NFED 9-to-1, which is a it's a 9-to-1. It's not resident on any band, but the tuner inside the KX3 can tune that to basically any band. So that's my primary setup, and then of course I've got a BioNO battery and some thin gauge coax that I use. And for my key, I do CW, so therefore I've got a bunch of N0SA keys. I've used RS key, N6ARA, Adams key, K6ARK, all of the keys. You know, your best key is the key that you have in front of you, just like your antenna. Your best antenna is the antenna that you're transmitting on. Yep. So, you know, I know that we've talked about it on this stream and my stream also. You don't have to have a fancy key to get on the air to learn CW. You just need a key in front of you to do dits and dahs to get on the air and to make CW contacts. And then I also have an 891 that I use for if I'm going to go out and do single sideband. I usually do that on the 891, or if I want to use obviously higher power, I've got an 891. So that's my POTA rig. Oh, and I also want to mention, I totally forgot. So I don't know how many people have towers in the chat. I am fortunate to have my rig down at Ward Silver's contest station. And for IARU, which is a big, huge worldwide contest that's coming up in July, we are the bonus station for North America. Oh, so cool. This week, actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going down to the contest station and we're changing out antennas. And we're going to be taking down antennas off the 60-foot towers and putting new antennas up so we can operate the bonus station on every single band at 24 hours a day during the whole contest. We're going to be calling out on the bonus station on every single band.
That's cool.
Actually, we're going to actually be doing in-band stuff too. So I've never taken down antennas, boom, Yagi antennas off of towers. So I'm going to learn a ton of stuff this weekend, and I'm going to record it all, and I'm going to put it onto my channel, and hopefully somebody can learn and comment and say, hey, you know, thanks for, you know, showing me or showing the ropes on how you take antennas down and put them back up, because I've never done it. So this is going to be an awesome learning experience for me this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, show everybody how not to die, Kyle. Please make sure we show people how not to die on a tower. That we need that information. Good job.
You know, I don't know if I'm sure Ward is probably going to ask me to put the harness on and go up the tower. I am deathly afraid of heights, so I don't think I'm going to go up. But I think I'm going to strap a camera to somebody's head, and they're going to go up for me and do all that videoing for me. So go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, go over the required equipment, because that's one of the things that confuses me the most. You need the harness, but then there's also the gin pole and all these other things and how you use a gin pole. I get how it raises it up to the top of the tower, but when you get to the top of the tower, how do you actually maneuver that thing over onto the mast, which is another 10 feet in the air? So all of those things are just mysteries to me.
Yeah, so hopefully I can capture all that stuff and put it, you know, on the net and on my channel to show how to do that, because I agree, Don. It's a mystery to me. Like like you said, I kind of know how the gin pole works to get the antenna up, but getting it back down, or just like the mystery behind the gin pole is crazy. So hopefully I can capture all that and capture it in a way that people understand it. But Ward is a master at that. I mean, whenever I talk to him, he's like, "Oh, we're just going to pull the J31 down. I'm going to put the Skylark up, and it's going to be no big deal." I'm just like, sounds like a big deal to me, but okay, I'll trust you. You know.
Right. Well, I've known guys to take or rent cherry pickers and just get into the basket and go up and do everything for the basket and bring it in. And that seems a hell of a lot easier. But at 200-foot tower, no, you don't do that.
No.
Right. Well, our towers are only 60 foot. I mean, still, that's a long way up. Obviously, if you fall from that,
it's more than enough to kill you.
Yeah.
Even in a well-appointed harness, if you're not tethered off at the right point, that could kill you. Like if you slam back into the tower, you die. You're gonna get hurt irreparably.
Right.
So the appropriate safety parts of this, to me, I want to learn that. So this would be wonderful. And coming from Ward and his experience, I would love that, Kyle. So please have the cameras running.
Yep. So I'm gonna roll the cameras, and I think we've got 3 harnesses at the contest station. So I'm hopeful that somebody else is there and he slaps a harness on them versus me. So it's gonna be an interesting video. So be looking for that on the channel. It's gonna be good. So
if you get a chance, look at W2RE when he's up on one of those towers in Maine that's over 200 foot, and he's at the top of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I talked to him at Hamvention.
I did too.
And he does him and his son does some crazy stuff on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, he and I spoke for a while at the Flex booth. He caught me at the Flex booth. He's like, I want to talk to you about like what you're doing on the videos and all that. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I didn't realize who it was, but he's an interesting character. It's just straight up.
Yes.
And I'll just say
he's a very smart individual with those towers. I mean, what he's been doing has been great. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Summit RF says rule number 1 is drink sun drop before you climb, right, Kyle?
Well, good thing he just got a restock of it. And Kyle, just make sure all the cameras and all the angles are rolling so we catch all the juicy goodness. And leave that stuff in the videos. The juicy is what's going to bring them in.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be more of a learning video on, I had no idea that was something that you did, or if you're going to buy a tower and you got to think about these things on how you're going to get your antenna up if it's not a tilt over or crank down, so like I said, it's going to be a learning experience for me, so I cannot wait to go out there and just watch and absorb and learn, and it's going to be great. So hopefully I can take you guys with me. So
I would love that. I'm very excited, Kyle. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Really quick too, since Kyle mentioned keys, I'll let Kyle. I'll come back to Kyle on this, but cwmorse.us, if you're interested in a good key that is inexpensive, well made, is quality that you can use, and I mean inexpensive. It's like, I don't want to say the Baofeng keys because I think that makes people think that it's like low quality. That's not the case here. These are 3D printed keys. They have alloy metal type keys as well, but like they're very well priced. And so if you're interested in getting into CW specifically, cwmorse.us is a great way to start. I don't know, Kyle, if you've got a better entry level key, what would you say?
Nope, you nailed it, Josh. Okay. You nailed it.
Well,
very good.
Let me. We were talking before the stream started, before you joined, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I found a what is it, POTA key? Key on Amazon, but it's a oscillator. So it's a very high quality key built into an oscillator, straight key, and I bought one of those. It is fantastic, solid key. It is $140, but I'm telling you, it is worth it.
Well, so oddly enough, the POTA key or whatever, I have. So if you listen to the podcast, oh gosh, I just searched CW key. That was my mistake. But the POTA key that was linked, that I saw linked when I joined the after chat, that's the same one that I.
And it's up there. There's a blue one right there, just below. It was in that. It was in your list there.
It was
on the second. Oh yeah, on the second row.
No.
Yeah, it was. There, right there.
Oh, that's not the one I was thinking of, but yeah, that's probably an okay one. Oh, that's the one that has the built-in keyer. Okay.
It looks exactly like that, but it does have it's on a bigger base, and that base has a built-in sound device in it.
Oh, okay. So the one I'm thinking of is a tiny little guy, like really, really small.
Oh yeah. I have that one too.
And I use that every week on the live stream. That's like literally what I'm hammering out. It's like straight key.
POTA
key.
Well,
Pooty.
Yeah, the only reason I'm mentioning that one is because of the built-in little, sound device that's in there. So, like, if you're taking an LICW class, right?
Yeah,
and
you'd be fine with this.
You need to be sending, yeah.
This guy, this guy's $40. $40. It's not super stable for a straight key. I'm not going to pretend like it's super stable. But for $40, actually, Mike also reviewed this. We're going to get to Mike next. I believe he's next up. But
I'm trying to post the key Don's talking about. There it is. I just posted the key Don's talking about in the Discord.
So this Pooty key, $40 on Amazon, straight key. So it's like Long Island CW Club approved. It's not heavy. Right, so you might still need to, wait it out, or just have a lighter fist, or set the tolerances so it's super, super tight, which is what I do, so it doesn't move around. But all of the CW, like whenever I'm sending code, it's all on that key, and it's great. It's all straight key. Everything I do is straight key on the podcast. It's great.
How are you generating the side tone? Are you using your radio?
No, I'm using the oh gosh. Oh, you hit me with the. What is the trainer I use? The seat. Oh, what is it? No, it's not the Morserino. It's the other one. The QR. Oh boy. Oh no! Okay. What? Hold on. Morse.
Yeah. That...
Way to kill the stream, Don.
I know, really. No, it's the EMP 73 or something.
It's a thing. Who cares?
Yeah. The only reason I'm bringing that up is go back to your POTA key deal again.
MCT.
Right on.
SparkGap Labs. SparkGap Labs MCT 73. That's the one I use. This guy. It is very good. It's like a Morserino, so if you're familiar with that, there's no surprise there. But this thing's great. It's really simple to get started with, particularly if you want to do the Koch method. That's the way to get started.
But if you were taking one of the classes, would that generate a tone that you could hear over Discord or over Zoom?
I'm just hiding in here.
All right. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Don, for the input. Hold on, I got to come back. Next, we got Adam, and now is Mike, KMRD, Ham Radio Tube. How's it going, man?
I am so glad that after you were talking to Adam, you didn't go to me.
Why?
How am I going to follow that? A double zap on 2 meters with 7 HTs
with
SOTA?
7 HTs, yeah.
I'm like, I did FT8.
Yeah, so talk about that. You did FT8 today. We texted back and forth. I saw you there for a hot second. So what was going on? What was your setup today?
So, dude, I've just been having a lot of fun playing radio the last couple days.
Yeah.
I have so many things that I need to do and film, but they require me going to the KMRD Proving Grounds, a.k.a. Huntsville State Park, which has been closed for about a month now. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm so sick of filming videos in my house. I need to get out, but the weather's been just raining and terrible and whatever. So a couple days, 2 days yesterday, in fact, I got the bug. Because I've pretty much got the HF mobile set up working.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got everything where I need it to be. Mick from Comet texted me the other day. The mount should be here in like 2 weeks for the ATOS for the truck. But so anyway, at Hamvention, like the only thing that I bought was the Spider Beam 12-meter mast.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how this is going to go full circle.
Okay.
Or at least 180 degrees. Because we've all been geeking out about this new 20-foot carbon fiber mast, which is great and is for it's exactly what I want.
Right.
But I've also wanted that Spider Beam 40-meter mast. And I've been using that. I finally found, it just came to me on Amazon the other day. Probably a week or two ago, actually. One of those drive-on mounts that you can actually stick a mast into.
Yeah.
And I found one that actually had a diameter that was big enough to hold the Spider Beam mast, and my MFJ 43-foot mast, whatever it is, without taking bottom base on. So the bands have been crap the last couple days on sideband anyway, even on CW a bit. I did work N8YO last night on CW, though. He was at a POTA. So I got another CW contact. So I've been taking this mast, and actually, hang on. I feel I have pictures that I meant to share. So I've been doing FT8 from the car.
Okay.
At a twofer.
Nice. Love it.
It's at Sam Houston National Park, or whatever the hell they call it. Sam Houston National Forest. But it's a forest. And I feel I uploaded those. There we are. And it's just a trailhead. That's all you get. This is the area of activation. Mm-hmm. So because the bands have been crap, and this is a half a mile north of Huntsville State Park on the same road. So I have Huntsville State Park and this twofer all 10 minutes door to door from my house. It was great. But the bands have sucked, and I was like, I got the 891 in the car. I got the radios where I want them. I actually moved them from the back. They're under the seats now, under the front seats. But I'm like, I need to do some POTA, but the band sucks, so I want to get an FT8. But then I had to figure out, because it's been years since I've gotten the 891 on digital, and I had to figure out how to do it again. And I started with the DigiRig, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Then I put the signal link on it, and then I finally realized after like 3 hours of cussing and swearing that you got to plug in the stupid USB in the back of the 891.
Right. Yeah, because it's a dumber radio. It doesn't have the USB connection.
Yeah, and it's like, and you feel like an idiot when you finally realize. At least I did. But so yeah, dude, I've been sitting in my car just chilling, just making FT contacts the last couple nights at a twofer, and it's been great. And I have no idea what video I'm going to film next. Like, I have things I can film in here, but I'm like, I got to get outside, and having these parks closed sucks. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Mike, what is my favorite picture of you? Do you remember that?
Your favorite picture? It's got to be in the hotel with the Pico APRS, I would imagine.
No, are you watching me live right now?
Oh, that one.
I was going to say the one you just had up on screen.
I lifted this off of one of your videos, right? I got this off of your video.
Yeah. I hiked up. That was Michigan Summits on the Air.
That was Summits on the Air in Michigan.
I called it Michigan Summits on the Air because there's no summits in Michigan. I climbed up to the top of an abandoned parking garage, and I got on the radio.
I think
like,
for a hot.
This is before POTA even existed.
Oh yeah, no, this is you. You're like Man Pack, like you're getting out there right now. Like
this is like Walking Dead, MCOM. Yeah,
it just cracks me up so bad. I think this might actually be my iPhone notification when Mike messages me. This is the picture that shows up.
Hey, Mike.
It is my favorite picture.
About that.
That's in Pontiac, Michigan, by the way.
So good. It's so good.
Pontiac. So you drive a Pontiac, right?
Yeah.
There's a city in Michigan called Pontiac. That's where that is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mike. I was sitting at a brewery with Sterling one day, and he goes, "Hey, have you seen this K8MRD guy?" And I'm like, "No." And it was whenever you were just starting to make videos, and he goes, "Yeah, he." There's a scene in there where he hiked up on top of a parking garage, and the word "Hornets" on the background. And I was like, "Oh my god!" So we watched it on our phone right there. That's when I subscribed.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
A little worthless tidbit of information about Pontiac, Michigan. It's more commonly referred to as Ponticrack.
Ah,
there you are.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. I personally like the one where Mike is filming. I think it's out at Big Bend, and his friend is doing something in the background.
Oh, that was before we got in, but yeah, that was on the way. Mm-hmm.
No, he was peeing in the background.
That was good
right?
B-roll.
Yeah.
That was good B-roll.
Yep.
And he was sitting behind my shoulder when I was editing that, because I was editing that in the hotel. And I'm like, yeah, I took this video. I'm like, I'm going to cut you out. He's like, no, leave that in. So I left.
I like that. Respect. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's great.
Oh man. Well, good times as always. I hope to see you real soon in Huntsville, right?
We will, yes.
Well, we will. Oh, I'm so
I
glad.
trust you're staying in the hotel with
of course, bouging it up,
with the upper class people, while us
That's
heathens are atop the mountain.
I will gift you with my presence, but
we will use communal showers. I will have my portable bidet though, and no, you can't borrow it.
No. Okay.
Not you specifically, just anyone listening.
On a private chat, I got to talk to you about the portable bidet. You never sent me the link to it, so I didn't buy it but I did get the one that I think you have. We got to talk about it later. We're not going to talk about it now. We have to talk about it in person. So come to Huntsville if you want to hear
maybe like in a couple hours. That's where the after chat will go.
No, because I got to go. I got to go record. I got to record the podcast after this. So portable bidet. Mike has the hot ticket on the portable bidet if you're somebody that likes to be truly clean when portable. Let me just say that, truly clean when portable. With that said, I have some opinions on that.
Even used it at my house. He brought it in from the car.
Yeah, why would you not? I'm not even like. I would say that Mike and I are generally simpatico on many things. Not Mandy. That's where we have a strong distinction. But most of the time, he and I are like lined up completely. So many times. And the fact that in America, in our country, people think they're clean using paper to sort out their nether regions and not use actual water to clean down there is wild. And so if you can carry a little bit of that with you, a little bit of cleanliness, that's the way to go. Come on. I can't even.
Josh, it is beyond wild. It is downright crazy almost.
That
people
what?
think they're going to be clean with paper towel.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's downright crazy.
No. I even have one for backpacking that's like a nozzle that goes on a water bottle that you clean yourself with. Like, there's no reason not to. Like, come on, guys. We're all in the real world. Get as clean as possible wherever you can. Somebody's going to say something. Go ahead. There's somebody talking. Didn't expect this to go to bidet chat, but here we are.
I got a question.
You started it.
I did. Question, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, it depends on the question. We'll take it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have so my house has like a flat roof. You know, you can go up there and it's like a roof deck, but it's not wood, it's fiberglass. Anyway, I have a DX Commander Signature 9 up there. Mount it and guide. What do you do about the radial? So I had started off with I had put radials, like I would, follow the instructions. And then I was doing some research and started to do some of the tuned radials since it was elevated. But I don't know if it's truly elevated because they're not going at 45 degrees. I don't know. So what are your thoughts around having a DX Commander not on the ground, up on a roof like that? And the radials.
I would default to Lord Callum on this one, on his thoughts on this, because I'm not prepared to really answer that question because I don't know if on your roof they qualify as vertical radials or elevated radials anymore, because they're literally on your roof, and the roof probably has some kind of connection to ground at some point. Somebody said, Snowcone said, Callum says it's fine, do as normal. So is it not getting out? Is it not performing well? Or why would you worry about that? Why are you worrying about that?
Yeah, I guess I'm not worried about it. I guess as a ham, you just want to be optimal or optimized.
Right.
I have a hex beam, and so I use mostly the hex beam up there. And it's hooked up to a switch, and I don't have 40 meters on the hex beam, of course. So I mostly use it for 40 meters. But I was just curious, just from an optimized perspective. That's it.
Oh, I gotcha. So ham radio operators always get into this world of pedantics that we get really stuck in being like the most efficient as possible. I'm with you. Always challenge the normal of like, how do I make this like the most effective situation possible? Always. The reality is that you're probably fine if you're making good contacts. If here's a good bailiwick on like knowing if you're in a right space with your antenna. If you can receive better than you can transmit, you're on the right side of your antenna, right? So if you're picking up far off signals that you can't make an FT8 contact work, for instance, you're on the right side of your antenna. If you're picking up DX contacts and all that other stuff, you're on the good side. That you have a good antenna, everything is working, right? So are you on that spot? Like, is that where you think you're at?
Yeah, I have absolutely no problems whatsoever. And I do have an amp as well, but I don't have any problems hearing. I'm in the Philadelphia area. It's a little bit of a noise floor, but yeah, I have that, and I use that. I have the new Anon G2, so I use diversity sometimes if there's local noise. But generally no problems. It's just that one of those things I think about every so often watching videos, and the big thing I've heard or I've seen recently is Walters and Stanton. There was a couple of videos where folks were covering sort of, how do you get gain out of a vertical antenna, and by elevating it and having tuned radials. So that got me thinking. It's that kind of thing. But no, I don't have any problems whatsoever. Everything works great.
Yeah. God, I'm not gonna try and negate what they're saying, but my opinion is if you're running an omnidirectional antenna, the only way you're getting gain out of it is if you make a phased array and you have another antenna as like some kind of a parasitic element. That's the only way you're getting like appreciable gain. If you start fiddle farting around with all this other stuff, it's almost like, to me, when you're fiddle farting around with that, like it's to bring your antenna into like some kind of resonance spot where your radio's happy more than anything. It's not like to pull out gain. Vertical on gain is always like I don't fully understand it. I know it exists in the 2 meter and 70 centimeter space, but it's not really as much of a thing on the lower frequencies. So much so that like you can amplify your signal by adjusting radial wires. Like that's probably not right. It's probably not. The juice is not worth the squeeze if you catch the reference, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's weird because there's not, I don't know if there's any videos, maybe not even a single video where everyone uses the DX Commander on the ground. It was designed for that. It makes sense. Sure. I did see in the instructions that folks have them, some people have put them, on top of garages and things like that. But it doesn't seem like anyone has a flat roof type situation. So, I was just curious, since there's no videos, there's not a lot of talk about it. I guess I'm in a bit of a unique situation, but just one of those things, always thinking optimizing and the radials. So
Oddly enough, it's just a purely like just spitballing kind of thing. You'd probably get better performance out of the antenna if you put a radiant barrier on the inside of the home to shield the heat. The radiant barrier, that foam that you could, the thin foam with the actual metallic sheeting that goes up against the roofing.
Right.
Like you probably get better performance out of adding that to your roof, and also the actual like temperature performance of your home being more radiant resistant than doing anything else. Because now you've made your roof also part of like this ground plane kind of setup. It might change the tuning of your antenna, to be honest. I don't know what it's going to... It will change it. But you probably will get better efficiency out of it, and you'll also be more thermally efficient on your home.
True. Yeah, I actually had it when I initially put it up. I did the whole magic carpet thing, so I had a big area of screen as well as radials. Mm-hmm. So I did both. But again, it always worked. I was always lucky with the DX Commander. Again, it's just watching these videos and thinking optimized.
Yeah.
So just trying things.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. Good question.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope we got it. All right, let me go back to. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go back to Mike. You good, man? Thanks for joining us out here. Oh, is he gone? Did we lose?
He's muted.
Oh, no, that's all right. That's all right. We'll move on to the next one. He's probably fixing dinner right now.
He's working on his bidet. Hey, man, get clean. So that's all you got to do.
All right, so next is Mark. Where's Mark at?
No.
Is he gone? Oh, no, Mark Hughes.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Lou's next.
Good, but I think I'm jumping in line here. But
yeah, no, you're right. Lou, you're next. Hiking and Hammond. Thank you for the patch, by the way. Got lots of good comments on that. So how you been, man?
Hey, no problem on the patch. Doing good, actually. And I got home this afternoon or this evening and looked to see what you were doing tonight. And I had to kind of chuckle a little bit because today was the Gigaparts POTA day. And they had me... Not sure if I'm going to do well. I am. I was about halfway through the presentation. I was kind of like, I don't like how I'm doing this, even though I was filming it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to put this up. And immediately when I got done, people were asking me, "Hey, when's the video going up on this?" So I guess I'm going to put it up. Anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You did it. Why not?
What happens when you're a famous YouTuber?
Yeah, famous YouTuber. Well, Steve came in while I was in there. You know, when I was setting up, and he's like, "Oh, look at you trying."
Did you just tell him I'm an influencer?
Yeah.
I should have done that, but you know, it went well. And I'll tell you, every time I go in that store, they have rearranged things. But now they have the open box section right when you come in. Like, you can't get to the radio section without passing the big open box section they got. So, you know, I was sitting there going, I wish I had, you know, $4,200 to drop on a 101.
I'm gonna hit up the open box section. I'm going to Gigaparts when I get to Huntsville, and that's
there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah.
I think basically like all the floor models they had in Vegas are in there in that open box section. I've already bought some stuff out of that section. It's just now a matter of self-discipline to not spend more money in there. But yeah, otherwise operating, I've been doing a lot of FT8, especially what I like to do when I'm teleworking. I'm sitting here in my my work.
Uh-oh. I got to give him the PTT. Hold on. We lost you, man.
Okay, so yeah, what I was saying is when I'm teleworking, the work laptop is like 3 feet from the radio, so I set the radio on 6-meter FT8, and just if I hear something, I'll whip around and check and see what it is. So I've been getting kind of lucky with that over the last couple of weeks. Got an Ontario contact.
I think this is internet dropout, actually. He's getting a bit of internet dropout.
That could be. I'm also unkeying, so I don't time it out too. So hopefully that's not.
Oh no, there's no repeater timeout here.
Oh, okay. Well then, I'll just keep
by the way,
down.
you're now free. You can get rid of the PTT if you want to. You've been
excellent.
anointed, so you're good.
Excellent. So yeah, I got to get out and do some POTA SOTA. We're going to try to do that here before too long.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you being here. And again, thanks for the patch, and thanks for coming out to the Troll Pub, having a lot of fun. Are we going to see you in Huntsville?
Well, yeah, I live here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. So for you, that's an easy little trip. So we'll see you.
Although I will say we're Pink and I will be camping up at Montesano this year because the trip back and forth from the house to the park and to the Von Braun was just like, screw this, we'll just stay up there at the park.
Well, so you gave me a hard time saying, like, are you coming out? And so, yeah, you're actually coming out. You're camping. So, yes.
Yeah. So,
all right.
But, to answer that question, though, POTA setups.
Please.
If I have the truck, it's the 891, usually with the Eagle One, depending on, where I can be and what's going on. If I'm on the road where I'm flying, TX 500 and any of a number of infed halfways, and right now a Carbon 6.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I can actually get my hands on one of those new spiffy K8MRD POTA poles, I will get one, and that'll replace the Carbon 6 since I already broke the tip off the Carbon 6.
So everybody is saying that. Setup. Everybody's saying that. They all want to get their hands on the K8MRD POTA pole. That's what everybody's saying right now.
I feel like some money can be made here.
Well, I'll tell you, Jason over at Gigaparts told me at.
Oh, we lost you. Come back. Don't spill the beans. Oh my God.
Hang on. What were you saying about my pole? Yeah. Everybody wants to get a hold of Mike's pole.
Jason over at Gigaparts told me at Dayton. He said, "I will set one aside for you when they come in." I'm not holding my breath on that, but maybe I'll get lucky.
Mike, now you can rebrand it as the POTA pole, as the K8MRD POTA pole. There you go, Mike.
I want everyone to pull out their K8MRD pole. I think that's great. It's great marketing.
It's great marketing. It sells itself, bud.
I mean, my background is in sales. What can I say?
Hey, you find anything that touches the third rail of marketing, you go for it.
It touches it. That's exactly what it does.
It touches it.
Were there any more new questions coming in here?
We're almost done. Hi, Ken and Hammond. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Next is Mark Hughes. What's going on with the Boondock Echo? And then I think we're pretty close. So go for it, man.
Hey guys, not too much. We're still in pretty much the same updates as last week. We're waiting for the offshore manufacturers to ship us the stuff, start testing it, and go from there. I did learn when we were talking about the POTA SOTA thing that I am within spitting distance of a SOTA peak, and I mean close. Frank and I were joking. I don't need a battery. I just need an extension cord. I think it's 3/4 of a mile away, so I'm gonna have to go hit that. But yeah, no, things are going well. We're, like I said, we've got everything designed. We've got everything in the manufacturing process. So once it hits the shores, we'll get it tested and get it to Mauser for distribution. So we're excited. Realistically, it's, even if we get things this month, we're not going to get them tested and out this month. It's 1 month from now at the soonest.
Okay.
That will be complicated slightly, that we might be having an addition to the family. My wife and I are foster parents, and the social workers called with a match. So they're going to tell us more about that Wednesday. So, we'll see.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. I think, well, I didn't know about that with you, that you guys are foster parents. That's a level of, personal sacrifice, I would say, that a lot of people don't have in them. So kudos to you. That is amazing. I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, the last placement that we had, we got right at the start of COVID, and had for a year or so before she went back to her parents, and it's tough. So we've been in therapy the last year.
Oh my goodness!
Through it. So no, when you know what some of these people's lives are like, and California always wants to go back to the parents. And then, you see them going back, and, you fall in love with them, and, they're your kids, and then just all this stuff. We're still trying to figure out how to do that. So.
Wow. I didn't know that about you. That touches my heart, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I encourage anybody else to do it too. There's a ton of neat kids out there. They're looking for homes, temporary. So you can do 2 paths, right? One is temporary placement, and the other is foster to adopt placement. And man, there are always those emergency placements. Kids getting plucked out of their homes, and the county's got nowhere to put them. So sometimes you're a home for a weekend, sometimes you're a home for a week, and sometimes you're a home for forever. You can go through foster agencies, or you can go straight through the county. It takes, 20 hours of training and then 8 hours to re-up each year, and you got to go do all these inspections and all this paperwork and interviews, and get fingerprinted and stuff. But if you have the capacity in your home, and you've got the capacity in your heart, look into it.
Wow, man, good on you. That's awesome. I'm at a loss for words. I didn't know that. That's super cool. Good for you and taking care of the kids. That's super awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see how this.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, I'm excited to hear about the Boondock Echo updates, and we know you're gonna get something out there soon, so everybody's happy about that. But that's really cool to hear about you taking care of the kids. So that's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's good for us too. So
that's awesome. Was somebody gonna say something? Go ahead. I thought somebody was in there. Okay.
I think that might have been you and I talking over each other.
It might have been. It might have been. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so hopefully we'll have some more updates. If the placement does happen, we'll know in a month, and then I might not be here so often on Saturday nights as we try to form a bond and whatever. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, just if you want to send me a DM, just catch me up on what's going on, to send some information out, that's totally fine. I'm happy to do that. So yeah, you absolutely take time with the family. That's, fundamentally the most important thing. So that's awesome, man. Good on you.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I posted, since we were talking in towers, I was looking around in the SoCal area. There's somebody trying to get rid of 270, I think they were 70-foot towers down in Huntington Beach, Fountain Valley area. They're just saying, if you take them down, you can take them. So I'll post that again real quick. I don't know if anybody's interested, but if you are, there you go.
I'm a couple of miles out of that area, so I don't know that I should look that up.
I do know a ham that has a crane company, or should I say a guy who owns a crane company who's also a ham. I could connect you with, and you could see if that's something in his wheelhouse.
Okay, maybe that's...
How angry would Leah be?
Oh, it'll fit in the...
all the way mad. Like, if I do anything like that, she's going to be all the way mad. All the way. Like, fully mad. Fully Leia mad.
Okay, then let's not tell Leia.
Yeah. See, now you're thinking. Now that's how you approach that situation. That's right. Now you know
Mark.
how it works. That's right. All right. Well, thank you, Mark.
that.
I appreciate that. Let's go over to Prep Ham Paul. Where you at, man? Are you there?
Hey, Josh. I got to put AAA in front of my name because I can't keep following up something like that. How am I supposed to follow up?
Oh, that's tough, dude. That's tough.
My name is gonna be AAA Prep Ham Paul, so that I go first. I don't have to follow up anybody. That's what they do in the phone books.
Well, Bill would welcome that. Radio Tectonics. He'd let you go first if you want. Yeah.
No, that's great, Mark. I hope that works out. I have a couple friends who've adopted. They're great families, so hopefully
That's
that works
amazing.
out for you, man. Good on you.
That's so cool, man. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. Yeah, this week I posted. So I've done that gutter antenna from Alpha and tested that a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that little Alpha match and a wire, and I've been connecting it to metal objects. So this week I posted a fence tenna project. I connected it to my iron fence in the backyard and did some FT8. And then Mike made a comment earlier when he called it FD hate. I pulled a little 30-second short out of there to prove that FT8 has a place in ham radio. So if anyone wants to see it, it was the short I put this week. And this is why FT8 belongs in ham radio.
Nice.
And then Sunday night, the Rag Chew at 9 p.m. We'll be going over WinLink. And I've got a couple guys. Frank's one of them. We're going to get on it and show how to install it, set it up, and the uses for WinLink and why you might want to have it. And I'm still trying to find someone who's never used it to get them on there and get them from start to finish before the stream ends. So that's Sunday night at 9 is what we're planning. Frank and I so far.
That's cool.
And I think Mr. Mudd will kind of join remotely somehow. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's cool. That there's nothing. I gotta say, I've been a guest on live streams where we get people going in a digital mode. Like TO's done a number of those temporarily offline, where I've been, I was allowed to hop on and kind of help out a little bit. And it's really fun when a ham, like, all of a sudden it just clicks and it starts working and you're like, yeah. And they're just vibing with it. That's super cool. I love that.
Unless it's KMRD.
No, so respect to Mike, right? He's been on multiple of my live streams, and we went through we went through all the stages of grief in dealing with digital modes on amateur radio, with JSA calls specifically, right? Because that's no joke. Like those are screwed up modes. Like the documentation's not great. There's some hidden secret stuff that, like, if you didn't know how to do it, it's not intuitive. Literally, if you watch Mike's video when he was on my channel and we walked through all that stuff, like it's actually really helpful, I think, for people who are just rote new at a lot of this stuff. It's a really good way to get started with that. So I get it. But right on, man. Well, thank you for joining us. All right, so I do have to wrap up here. I'm probably going to go 30 more minutes because actually we're back from the East Coast, and we didn't record the podcast this week because we got home last night. We were just too tired to do it, and so Leia said we should do the pod tonight, and so the podcast is going to drop tomorrow on all of our deep thoughts with Jack Handy about our East Coast trip, because there is a lot. There's a lot to unpack. Ham radio related and not, that we're going to cover. But yeah, so we're probably got 30 minutes. So what I want to do is let's go back to just open questions for anyone, anywhere, any ham radio related question. Take them now. If you're here live, let's go.
I got a question.
You got right here.
All right, so I know Frank's in there, so let's go Frank, and then we'll go next.
Okay, I'll make mine simple. I'm having a brain fart. Ham clock issue. Thank you. A ham clock issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I upgraded, and Josh, maybe you can help me with this. I don't know. Maybe someone else can. I finally upgraded my Build a Pi to 73 Linux. I have reached out to Jason. I haven't heard anything back yet.
Okay.
So I want to poll the community here and see if I can get an answer. My ham clock is giving me an error message. It says that the RESTful port 8080 is already in use.
8080 is your web port.
Yeah, yeah, but RESTful. So let me bring this up real quick. Hold on.
And RESTful's an API.
So it says failed to start RESTful server on port 8080, bind 8080, address already in use. And I only have the option of restart or exit.
So yeah, but
something else is already running on that port.
Yeah. It's something that Jason installed when you were installing 73 Linux is already using that port. That's basically it.
It's
you can
probably
just try another. You can try another port and you config.
It's probably his WinLink client. If I was guessing, it's probably WinLink. WinLink is highly leveraged on Linux. It's not WinLink Express like you get on Windows. It's like a web client setup. So I'm guessing that it's like it's not RDOP. What's the Linux WinLink?
Just go to localhost 8080 and see what comes up.
Oh yeah, you can do that too. Yeah.
Have you tried rebooting?
Yeah,
Yes, I have.
Mike, tell us all about
Mike
your Linux advice.
Mike
yeah, please.
Maybe type format asterisk in the command line.
Sudo kill is what you need to get familiarize yourself with.
do an LSOF on 8080.
No. Okay, so 8080 is saying there's nothing there on localhost or from a remote machine.
Is it another
Have
device
you Googled it?
No, because I'm using the specific. So locally, I'm just localhost port 8080, and on the remote side, I'm trying the IP port 8080, and it's not
browsing to it or what? How are you testing it?
On the Pi itself, I'm using Chromium and going localhost port 8080. And
you don't put port in there; you put a colon.
Well, yeah, localhost port colon or yeah.
And you're doing HTTP or what?
No, I just put in the. I don't even bother with HTTP because that should automatically resolve.
No,
no,
it doesn't. It might not be a web service. It might be some other.
Yeah, RESTful means that it's responding on HTTP requests, gets and posts to an API, and so that will not return anything if you browse to it. You have to do a get or a post in this very specific way. And also it might be doing HTTPS instead of HTTP.
Okay, and Jody just posted something from a groups.io for this. So thank you.
This is one of those things where I would say the voice chat is not the way to figure this out. This is like you trying some things while smart people are texting you things to try.
Right.
To be fair,
throw it out there.
To be fair, ham clock really is something that's run by itself on a separate device, not along with 20 or 30 other apps, which is what you're running into.
Right.
It's not making the thing that, oh hey, there's already something there, so let me reconfigure. I don't think like on Jason, if you're running Jason stuff and that's what you mean to do, you put ham clock on, go get a Pi just for ham clock, or one of those little can't remember the name of it. Starts with an I. Innovatos. Get one of those Innovatos and run ham clock on that.
That's actually a really good idea, Don. Is Raspberry Pis are cheap as hell, and even like a Raspberry Pi 3, if you just did ham clock on that, you'd be good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, what's funny is I'm primarily using. I know it's completely overkill, and I installed Jason's stuff so I could have it if I need it. But I'm primarily using the Pi just for ham clock. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah, then just
you're
ham clock.
Just get a Pi just to do ham clock.
Runs great on Windows.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Not for me, Tim. No. And real quick, and I know there were two others in there, to follow up on Prep Ham Paul's Sunday night live stream. If anyone wants to join us in the process of doing the WinLink stuff, shoot me a DM and I can set you up with joining us in trying to get set up on things.
There you go. All right. Well, who's next on the open questions? Anyone, anywhere, go for it.
Hi, good day, Frank here.
Oh, so I got Robert is the first one I saw, and then I heard Frank, so you'll come next. Go ahead, Robert.
I'll try to be quick, but I had a question earlier as well, and you answered. But I'm curious as to what kind of antennas should you stay away from with the carbon fiber mast? I know you don't. I know you don't necessarily want to have a, your radiating element going up the actual carbon fiber. Is that right, or do I have that
right?
I'm gonna give you the hot take on this one. I don't avoid anything. I Smoke and Ape, if you ask him, and I respect him completely because he's much more studious on the books and all that stuff, even though he pretends to not be, but he's very studious in the books on the way to do this.
Yeah.
I'm much more of the opinion, if it works, it works. And so if you end up using a carbon fiber mast, you got the wire all wrapped around it, and it still is putting out the signal, then I'm not that worried about it. If it works, it works. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anybody else have any thoughts there?
I've used.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, sorry. I've used horizontals, but one thing I have run into problems with very badly with carbon fiber is running ladder line down it.
Oh, sure.
Do not do that.
Yeah.
You need to. What I did do was I went out about 6 to 8 inches, and then came down, and that was fine. I had no problems after that. But do not run it like right down next to the carbon fiber.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's just all, I saw Mike's video, KMRD, with, it's hard not to get the new mast. It looks so great. But I knew there was some kind of, I'm not a huge portable guy, but I knew there was some kind of, proper way to use the carbon fiber and ways not to.
Yeah. The Ribakov, which is what I'm planning on using on like a lot of my POTAs now because it just works so damn good. That one, I have tried that with one of my carbon fiber masts, and it doesn't work well. It does interfere with it.
Okay.
So I mean, I wouldn't say that about all verticals. I haven't tried all verticals, but I did try the Ribakov, and it was not tuning well at all.
Hey Don, drop the link for the Ribakov you're talking about because that sounds
the Poseidon. It's the car Poseidon.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh, the car Poseidon. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
That's their vertical setup, right, with the elevated.
That's the
radial.
newest.
It's not elevated. No, it lays on the ground.
So what makes it a Ribakov? What does that mean?
It's 9-to-1 at the bottom of it, 25 foot tall. Or Abe just told me because I've been talking to him while we were on the stream, but he also recommends 51 feet. But either one of those, so you basically are running a 9-to-1 random wire, but in a vertical deal with a 17-foot.
I thought he was using a 4-to-1.
Yeah, you're right. It is a 4-to-1. It's not a 9-to-1. The 9-to-1 comes from Walt. Walt used a 9-to-1.
And so there's a vertical element, right, on the right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Is it a 4-to-1 or a 9-to-1? Because a 9-to-1 is usually a random length, right?
It's a 4-to-1.
It's a 4-to-1.
Walt used an LDG 4-to-1 in that video.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Coastal Waves and Wire.
Yeah, I'm just totally remembering it wrong. But yeah, all I know is it works. I built it. I don't remember whether it was.
It works, but not on carbon. Right?
No, it did not work when I put it up on a carbon. It does work exactly the way they talked about doing it with a with the fiberglass DX Commander pole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right, who is next there? Is that?
Hey, good day, Frank here. Is it up to me?
Yeah, man, Frank, go ahead.
Hey, good day, guys. I'm kind of a newcomer. I've been listening for a while. Never talk on a Discord, and I had two questions. And I'm in regards from New Zealand. Z04FR is the call here. So I'm thinking about putting up a fan dipole. We have quite a bit of space and height, but I'm thinking about a top element, 80-meter one. I kind of need something that's gonna have enough tensile strength, and I can't really get a decent wire here, like with a Kevlar reinforcement. I was thinking about putting just a stainless steel wire. I know that stainless steel is not ideal for it, but like, would you have any comment on that? And then I have a second question if there is a time.
The only big comment I have is don't go with solid stranded for something like an 80. You have to go with stranded wire. Or don't go solid core, go stranded in all situations if you're going to do 80. Higher gauge would be better, but then yeah, that's going to be dependent on what you have access to. So steel's fine as long as you can weather protect it. And then however you tune it up is going to, be a factor as well. Anybody want to add anything?
My first antenna was a fan dipole that made, and I used 14 gauge stranded wire. Granted, I only made it for 40 and 20, but yeah, that thing is a beast. I still have it to this day.
Yeah.
So 14 is definitely stranded wire for sure. But yeah, I mean, maybe if you want to go 12 gauge, but you can just pick up some 12 or 14 gauge wire, if you have steel wire or whatever. Yeah, just do it, man.
Yeah, do it would be the right answer.
Sorry. Yeah, no, what I was thinking was using the stainless steel stranded wire like across as the main element to support the rest, and then the rest of the fan like different bands do just out of copper wire. It's just something like I'm a bit worried if I hang copper wire all the distance of 80 meters that it's just gonna snap in a wind. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to support the center, so it might be just stretch all the way across.
I wouldn't worry about copper wire breaking. I've got two 80-meter end-fed half waves above my house right now, and I'm in South Texas where it has been storming literally this entire spring season that we're in. So having that copper wire is going to stretch, so you might need to retune it at some point by shortening it. But it's actually very, very flexible and very versatile and very good for antennas, even in like high wind storm, where you think it's going to snap. I've never had one snap.
What about the hardware terminals as well? Is stainless is good? I mean, some people swear by like using not stainless hardware for like your anuns and things. Is that true? People using brass or copper hardware?
I mean, if they're on a sailboat, maybe, but stainless is
Yeah, right,
fine
okay.
most of the time. Like you're
Yeah.
fine.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I
again,
use
it
stainless
depends.
all the
What
time.
kind of weather do you expect? Are you getting constantly blasted with sleet and hail and high winds, or what are we talking about? Where are you located, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, not necessarily that, but I live in New Zealand, and so, I mean, 80 meter, it will be 80 meter dipole, so that's almost 40 meters of wire, and it's going to be attached on the top of the trees. I did prune the tree that it doesn't have a high swing, like that it doesn't, like I will have to do some tensioners there to allow for a bit of movement, but sort of we have a hedge around the whole property, and so the fixing point is going to be about 15 meters above the ground. I'm not sure what is it in feet.
15 meters is pretty high. Yeah.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, 1.5.
Oh,
yeah,
1.5.
Yeah.
Okay, 1.5.
Yeah. 15. Yeah, not that crazy. Yeah. But like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna. It's still gonna possibly need to support the weight of the coax coming up to the dipole, because at the moment I have only fixing point either end.
Well, so if you're really that worried about it, the wire's shielded, I'm assuming. Is it shielded? Insulated?
Well, the stainless steel, I was thinking it's bare wire. It's the type of wire you would use on a sailboat.
I see.
Probably to catch your mast and support that.
Okay,
but
so here's the only thought I have. Like, if you're going to work the stainless steel, like if you're going to apply solder and crimping and all that stuff, like you can hit that spot that might be tempered by heat with some mastic, some coax seal or something like that, and that would be totally fine. But the non-worked area, like just the strands of stainless steel, is probably going to be totally fine, because if it's used on a sailboat, it's probably more than enough to be able to make an antenna out of, if you catch my drift.
Hey, the one thing you do want to be careful of, I heard somebody mention brass. Don't mix stainless and brass. You'll get galvanic corrosion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corrosion.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I'm still thinking about it. I might just try to put up any wire I have here, and if it's not gonna support it, or I might change it for the stainless steel. Anyway, thanks for the thoughts. I've got one more question if you guys still have time.
Yeah, go for it.
So I've got a Yaesu FT 857. I bought it about a year and a half ago. It was working fine when I bought it, but then I was moving houses. It stayed sitting in a garage, and after I plugged it back in, it does. It's got a power. Like if I check on SDR, I can see myself coming through. I can see myself going through, but the audio is even distorted, or there is no modulation whatsoever. Sort of between those two. And I was reading somewhere that the ceramic filters can affect. They're mainly about receiving, but like I read somewhere that they can affect the transmitter as well. So that might be. I already have them here, so I'm gonna be swapping them. But basically, if it's something, what it could be the cause of it, like no modulation on transmit.
So
or no,
simple.
or I will have to be looking.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. So simple questions are: have you done the easy tests of? Have you put a power meter on it? Is it putting out 50 watts? Like, are you seeing what you might expect on it?
Yeah, no, it's on the power meter. It's putting out power, and I can.
No, hold on.
Like,
I said specifically, is it putting out 50 watts? Like, is it putting out the power you set the power to?
Yeah, it should put out 100 watts, and that's. What did I put? I had to put like something with a carrier, like on a CW.
No,
it was putting 100 watts.
What modes of operation do you have on it?
Well, all of them. Well, it's FT857, so it's got a single sideband and CW, whichever I want.
Does it have FM?
FM.
Oh, yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, so you want to test against something with a constant carrier like FM in this case. And so it's putting out full power?
That's what I mean. Like, so the carrier is there, the power is there. They would even I would even get like, I was trying to break into CQ call, and they could hear that someone is trying to get in, but there was either distorted modulation or no modulation whatsoever.
I would go in and factory reset your radio first.
Yeah.
Those 857s and 897s were good for getting their settings messed up.
Hopefully the finals aren't blown.
Well, he says he's getting full power out, so the power output would be the finals in this case. So the fact that he's getting 50 watts, 100 watts, whatever, is going to be the showing that the power amp is working in the radio.
And if reset doesn't work, do you have a separate microphone you can try on it?
Right. Well, it's doing the same on the digital. So I had it hooked up for digital just to external sound card, and it's not working either. So yeah, that would be as external mic, I guess, because I read somewhere that the mics can get a bit funny.
I would do a reset then.
Yeah, I mean, do all those things, but it doesn't really sound like necessarily a mic problem. It sounds like there might be a radio problem.
All right. Well, I mean, I have the filters are the common thing, but it's especially for receive. I read somewhere it could affect transmit. I don't know if that's possible or no. So basically, that's I will be swapping them anyway, but I'm a little bit it's a little bit on the side of a soldering. I haven't done that far yet, but I should be okay to do it. But yeah, that was the main thing. If it could be those filters, or if I'm potentially looking into something else. But anyway, I'm going to be trying to swap them. So if I succeed, I will get back to you guys if that help or no.
I don't think you have to solder those filters, not on the 857.
Hold on, I got one. I got to do something. You guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
You reckon they're soldered to the board, eh?
I'm pretty sure they have drop-in filters because they sell upgraded filters for those radios.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I don't know if I think it's those three little ones which always goes wrong. The same goes on Kenwood TS2000. It was the same filters. I don't know if maybe it's not filters. The ceramic bars, really tiny ones. I know the filters you mean. They are like the bigger ones, like they are drop-in, like SSB filter or something. But these are, I don't know how they are called.
I thought those SSB filters were for receive anyway. They're not for transmit. If you're having issues with transmit, that shouldn't affect it, or those filters wouldn't affect it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I read it somewhere. Like,
I would do what Tim suggested earlier, just factory reset it.
So the truth is that we might not be able to trace out if there's a particular component failure. So you got to set yourself back to base. So reset everything and see what's going on, because it sounds like you might have more problems than just components necessarily. You might have software problems, other things. You might have to reset to square one, if you will.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I already did factory reset on it before. I'm just gonna double check if it's alright. Obviously, you can trace it. I was more thinking if someone, because that radio is quite popular, if anyone experienced the same, more on that note. Otherwise, I'm gonna contact local club I'm part of, and I think someone might go over with me. But first, I'm trying to just attack it myself before that. But anyway, yeah, thanks a lot for that. Thanks for the advices. I will see how it goes.
Yeah,
I think Frank. Frank, I think I might have a service manual for it's either the 857 or the 897, which are essentially the same internal radio.
So really quick too, there was a good comment that was posted about the resistivity versus the connectivity of different materials. Copper is a much better antenna than stainless steel. I don't think anybody questions that, but the numbers are pretty shocking there. So stainless steel might not be the best material to make an antenna out of. You can, as always, you can, but you're going to be dealing with a lot of other metallurgy that goes along with stainless steel versus copper, right? So
yeah,
if that's what you have available, then
it's conductive, right?
And unless the copper is really, really thin, the thinner it is, the more likely it will be to break. But otherwise, with copper, the more likely scenario is that over time it'll stretch and it'll become untuned.
Well, it's
So,
softer. It's more
yes.
ductile.
Right,
Ductile
right.
is the term. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so look, here's the biggest thing I have to tell everybody. Like, if you go into the shed and you got wire and you want to make an antenna, make the damn antenna. Like, just do it. Like, don't go buy more wire. Make the antenna. Just know going in that there are characteristics of that material that might be better to make an antenna out of, that you got the worst luck of the draw. Stainless steel, valuable in lots of areas. Making an antenna, not the best. With that said, would I make an antenna out of it? Hell yeah. Go nuts. Do it. Just do it. Put it up. Get on the air. Get on the air. And then once you've explored those options, now we can start talking about better materials, better other stuff. Like, just do it. There's so much. I've said it so many times, but there's so much of this hobby where we get wrapped up with the thinking about doing, and we do little doing. We need to do more doing and less thinking about the doing. We're always aiming to, like, well, should I save my money for this next radio? Should I make an antenna out of this? Should I do this? Like, we have we come up with all these excuses to just do it, right? If we're talking about a $4,000 radio, fine. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely explore the spaces of not doing it. I got it. But if we're talking about, like, putting an antenna up and you already got all the equipment, put the antenna up every time. Put it up. Put it up. Get on the air. That's the best thing you can do. Period.
Here.
Yeah, and everybody's hitting me with the Shia LaBeouf, which in French is isn't Shia LaBeouf in French like the meat? The beef? The beef? That's his name, right? The beef?
It's the whale's beef.
Oh. I see what you did there, Mike. All right, I'm gonna take we're down to the last calls here. So, open questions. Anybody? Who's next?
I have one more question. No one else has a question. I've got a lot tonight.
Oh, this is it, man. Go for it.
So since Don's here, so I went from an FTDX 101 NP to a Al-Anon G2, but I like Radicon testing. So I saw that there's a CW mode on the Al-Anon. Is there a way to do RIDI other than AFSK? Is there like a way that you can actually generate the tones in the Al-Anon, or is it all just doing it via audio?
Well, here's the thing. The Anon internally doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. It's mainly filters and all that kind of stuff. So what you're looking for is, does Status out of the box do RIDI? And as far as I remember, and I don't have my Anons up right now. As far as I remember, no, you don't. But what you do is you run something like FL Digi or FL that kind of thing. So an external program.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that are doing RIDI are doing N1MM, I believe it is,
yeah,
and routing the audio through the audio chain, basically into VAC1, and then out, and then that will process it and push it into the radio.
Okay, yeah. I'm using CAM, the newest ASIO, and so I have VAC1 available. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if that was the most appropriate way. Thank you.
Did you get the G2 without the screen or with it?
Without.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I like Status. I couldn't. I didn't barely use the 101 MP screens. I did a lot of that via the software, the Win for Yaesu, and so I figured the screen wasn't necessary, and I love it. It's really nice.
Yeah, I do a lot of my 101D through the through HRD.
Yeah, that too. Thank you, Don.
Sure.
All right. My son's talking to me in the background, smelling radio. Everything in this area right now smells like ozone, which usually a heavy smell of ozone in Southern California is my warning that there's an earthquake coming. So I'll just say that right up front. If you smell ozone in Southern California, just like in the air, that's like a precursor of an earthquake.
What if ozone smelled ozone?
Well, then now we have Breaking
It should have
3.
used Samosium.
Breaking
You understand
3.
the reference, Josh?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
Yes,
you
yes,
do.
I did. And then now we have Ozone, Boogaloo 3, EMF,
Yeah.
disaster.
Electromagnetic frequency.
Electromagnetic disaster.
Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind is exactly what Mark is expressing in chat.
Yeah, I do have a battery that's connected that I don't want to die. It's a very important battery.
And wasn't there like a 4.5 in Newberry Park the other day?
Well, the fact we're smelling it like we didn't. Well, okay, let's just disconnect the battery.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, if you're smelling it everywhere, then yeah, it's not electrical components, but
You know what? We don't know at this point.
Aliens could be coming to Earth.
I mean, like if you go outside, when I go outside and I smell ozone like that, I know the rain is coming and it's a thunderstorm.
Yeah, we don't have those here. So
okay.
that's how that rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get rain here, Dawn.
We don't have that. That's not really a thing.
Sorry, can I ask one more quick question?
Well, it depends. Let's hear the question.
So with your, I come from the RC world and I have a lot of, lithium polymer batteries, but I bought a BioNO 40 amp hour, of course, the lithium, I guess, iron phosphate. Can you just charge it and leave it charged? Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't have to put it in storage mode or anything, or storage. I guess.
No, not really. Like most hams are not going to that level for their battery. Also, most hams are on LiFePO batteries, lithium iron phosphate. Yeah. They're not doing LiPos anymore. Right. The only time we go LiPos are for batteries. Are for radios that can't take the full 13.8 volt charge of a LiFePO, and we have to use like a 3-cell LiPo kind of thing, just to give like a softer 12 volt kind of deal. But most hams are not. Hams almost seem like they don't want to know what's going on in the battery. They want to they want to live in a world where it's just like it just does the thing. They'll pay almost any money if it does the thing, and then that's all they want to know about.
Yeah. Well, it stresses me out because I charge it, and then of course I would never do that with my RC batteries, the lithium polymer, because in a couple of days they could be starting to diminish. But I read the lithium iron phosphate. It's fine. It's just hard to believe.
Well, at the same time, like if you buy a decent LiFePO charger, like a 3-cell LiPo charger, they have a stop charge in them. If it's a proper balanced charger, they're not going to overcharge or whatever, right? So a lot of hams depend on the thing doing the job that they paid that it would do. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, I think mine's in one of these boxes that they sell at a ham radio outlet, and I think it came with a charger, so it's on that.
I'm literally like as we're talking right now, the thing that's in the background is I have a KX1 Elecraft KX1, and stop, get your hand on there. Tufton makes a battery and a charger special for this radio that runs off of a PD battery bank to charge it. And so if we're smelling ozone out of that, that's a problem. And I was using this USB. I was using this USB tester to make sure that we're getting the voltage out of it. So I got to plug that in after we're done here to see if it's like, get your hand out of there, to see if it's like doing the job that I expected it would do.
Yeah. So with so just to confirm, I can charge the BioNO battery completely full and then just let it sit till the next time I want to use it.
Depends on how long, but yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, what do you mean how long? I guess you're not supposed to do that for what, like 6 months?
Well, I mean, what, are you talking about decharging it? No, nobody ever decharges amateur radio batteries. Okay. We're not going to discharge it. But if you're telling me like I'm going to sit it on the shelf for 6 months and then come back to it, expect it to be fully charged, like that's also not reasonable.
No,
right?
no, okay, but it won't damage it. I guess is my point.
No, does that happen in the RC world?
Yeah, if you charge a LiPo battery and then not use it, it will damage the battery. It probably will swell. It will swell. Yeah, when I come home, if I go fly drones, and I might bring 10 batteries. When I get home, I have to discharge all the batteries I didn't use back down to like 3.7, or they'll start to diminish a couple percent, every couple days.
Oh, so
chime in here.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Now that's lithium polymer. Yeah.
So I love batteries. Lithium iron phosphate is very robust. It can handle a lot more that you throw at it without exploding. They pretty much don't. I've shot them with my AR-15. Much safer chemistry. In terms of charging, if you're going to store them long term, though, if you're talking months or even a couple months, it would be a good practice to discharge them down to about 50%, so as to prolong the life of the battery.
Okay.
There will be some self discharge, if you charge a battery. So LiFePo 4, you want to charge up to 14.6. They'll settle down to 13.3-ish, let's say. Over time, they will slowly discharge. Not like a LiPo, though. They're completely different chemistries. So you're talking about you need to discharge your LiPo batteries down to what's their nominal voltage, like 2.5 or something stupid like that?
3.8 a cell.
3.8 is that's what you charge them to, though.
Oh no, 4.2 a cell is what you charge them to.
Okay, yeah, they're high. That's why that 3 cell is like 11.7 and 5 cells.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Or 4 cells is generally too high for ham radio.
Yeah.
Those batteries are much more volatile than lithium iron phosphate.
Yeah.
So for QRP radios, the benefit of a LiPo is that they're very small, they're very compact, they're very lightweight, and they have an incredible energy density per cell. The problem is they're very volatile. So we all carried them around at Dayton Hamvention in our mesh Tastics, and we all have them in our cell phones. But in terms of charging and discharging and taking portable, I would be cautious of that with like a KX2. Like my early ham radio mentors, like Jerry KG6HQD and even Josh and Adam, are all using these LiPo batteries for ham radio. But I'm like, you got these pouch cells, dude. Yeah. Like that's just so dangerous. Lithium iron phosphate, even in their cellular form, if you just buy the LiFePo 4 cells and make a battery out of them, you can throw it around your truck. Doesn't matter. They're just so robust. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Does that help answer the question or
hugely?
Confuse it more?
Yeah, it's just exactly. And I know that the chemistry is different, right? Which is the big advantage of the LiFePo. But I just wanted to make sure. Like I started to charge my battery for summer field day, which is like 2 weekends away, and I would never do that with a polymer, right? So,
no, you're fine. Yeah. 2 weeks away, you're fine. Like, I mean, you can leave it. You can leave the charger sitting on there.
Yeah,
it's gonna charge kind of like a lead acid battery, where it will just kind of be in like float charging.
Gotcha.
That's what a lithium iron phosphate battery will do. But you don't need to. Once the battery charger's done, just unplug it, and it's
unplug it. Okay.
You're just there. You just have the energy. It's such a robust chemistry, even though they're physically bigger than LiPo and they don't have quite the energy density. You can just beat the crap out of lithium iron phosphate and it will take it.
Yeah, like I don't hear any of you guys ever talk about worrying about the batteries being discharged. I mean, in like the FPV drone world, it's all about making sure you take care of your batteries.
Yeah, and the same thing with the RC, dude. I watch all those videos too, man. They're cool as hell. Exactly. But they're all using the, I just watched a video the other day where this guy, remember that RC car? It was like the claw, I think it was, where like claws literally came out of the tires.
Oh, like as a kid?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the RC car.
Yes, and the little hands came out. Yes.
Yeah. So I watched the video. Swear to God, this was like 3 nights ago. I watched the video. A guy he overpowered it.
Yes. Overvolt.
I mean, they're made for like
nickel metal hydride.
Nickel metal hydride was the thing back in the day, or maybe even nickel cadmium. Actually,
I was going to say it might be cadmium, right?
Yeah, it was probably cadmium days because this is like mid '80s. Let's say there it is. Somebody just dropped in the chat the claw. But then they
but I want the
oversell
overvolt. Where's the overvolt?
Yeah, so he completely redid all the wires, all the guts, and put like
probably put a brushless in there.
Dude, but like the thing was like, what battery? How many cells can we put on this? These
No,
like
that's not.
LiPo cells.
That's not the same.
So he did one cell. Maybe
No.
it was a boat. Maybe it was a boat that I'm talking about.
No.
Yeah, some of the drones we do 12
the
cells.
link that was dropped was the wrong link that I pulled up. The
Oh.
little hands came out. Yeah. This one.
Yeah. The hands came out.
The hand. Yeah. This.
So
is it.
he basically just overclocked it and saw how many cells he could put in it. But I'm like, dude. So the whole point is, yes, I'm aware of the RC and the, what you're using battery wise in that world. But in ham radio, LiPo doesn't generally work unless you're using like a QRP radio that can take that lower like 11.7 volts for a 3-cell.
Right.
Otherwise, 4 cells is just too high. And lithium iron phosphate fits in so well with ham radio because 4 in series gives you
the perfect voltage,
13.3 volt battery, which our radios want to see 13.8. And then again, they're just so robust, and you can beat the crap out of them. So anyway, that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I like every time I walk by it, I stress out. I'm like, dude, is that really the case? So I figured, let me just ask why I'm here on here. So thank you guys once again.
Most in all situations, you should probably go LiPo unless you have a radio that requires undervolting, and then that's why you go with a 3-cell LiPo. So like a mountain topper, you don't want to give it more than 12 volts. And so that's why we go with like a 3-cell LiPo, because it might dip into 12.3 or something like that. But most of the time it's going to be on the south end of that. And that'll give you the most power output, which is a super battery dense like chemistry. And yes, you have to be cautious about that. Mike's totally correct in all of this. But that's kind of where you have to be right now, because we're not going to go back to sleds and we're not going back to nickel cadmium or anything like that. So LiPos is where we're at. Like that's the world we're in, right? So that's why we go with the 3 cells.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and I bought a 40 amp hour, which is way bigger than I ever needed, I guess. I didn't really know any better.
Well, if you start getting into POTA, a 40 amp hour, you'd be able to run all weekend. You could do multiple POTA activations. You can run around to different parks. You can do all that stuff with a good battery. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited. Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
And a thing to keep in mind too with the battery you get is going to be the amperage you need to give the full power output for that radio, right? So
right.
That's more important than not is one of the major factors that goes into the battery you pick is the amperage the battery can provide consistently to put out the power output that you want, right? If you're going to do like a 100 watt radio, then you're going to need good amp power to match that.
Yeah. I bought the battery. I basically bought the battery to fit into the battery box, which I guess is, I don't know, it's a little smaller than the Big Geek. It's the one that HRA sells, but like the one like Mike makes. Of course, not quite as nice, but it fits in there. So I figured I might as well just get a bigger one that fits in the box. So
sure,
it works. Sure. Seems to be working.
Well, there you go. All right. Okay. Let's take last call on questions. Anybody out there anywhere with a question? Go ahead. And yeah, I'm looking at YouTube right now. So if you type in question at Ham Radio Crash Course, all that stuff, that's what we're looking for. So if we didn't get your question, which is very likely towards the latter half of this talk, go ahead. Also, don't just say like a question on hamstick tuning, but then don't provide the question. So hamstick tuning is going to be like literally adjust the set screw, and you have to adjust the vertical whip to where your SWR is perfect for that center frequency you're looking for. You're going to want to do that with all the bands. If you have an antenna analyzer, you're going to be better off. So there you go. Nobody on Discord, so we got it. all the things. We answered all the questions. Everybody has been satiated, right?
We just won ham radio.
That's it. So now everybody's going to get out and do POTA. They're going to be the most amateur radio ready people of all time. Amateur radio
listen,
solved.
if I could have one more question about POTA real quick.
Yeah, man.
I have a DX10.
Oh, cool.
I'm not using. That was my original radio. I bought an MP. I'm sorry, an FTDX 101 MP. Now that's on the sideline, and I have got the Onan G2. But is it not for POTA? Is that too big of a radio to be bringing out? I know, Mike, you bring a 73.
That's my main POTA radio.
Okay.
Well, so again, it depends. Where are you going? Do you want to? Are you going to walk it a mile? No, it's not a good mile hike in radio. What are we talking about?
Yeah, just in a truck, like in a car, and
no, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it will even drive in ATOS.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, the DX10 will drive an ATOS. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. You can set the ATOS as a tuner.
The guy that does the guy that's on 3411 all the time that I showed up earlier on my live stream, that's what he uses, an FTDX10. He kills it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the most contacts out of anybody on that park just from using that radio.
Yeah, and people just bring them. You just carry them out there, or do you put them in a bag or something, or how do you bring them? The DX10
well,
out
if it's in your car, and you don't leave your car, you can do whatever you want, right?
Well, that's true, right. But if I was going to walk from the truck to like a picnic table,
I have a handle on mine.
I put it on my head. I hold it on my head.
Those guys that do the metal rails, I've forgotten now, but I have the metal rails with the handle on it, and I just grab the handle and carry it out there with me. It's not a heavy radio at all. And Jason, Ham Radio 2.0, has quite a few videos where he has used his FTDX10.
Yeah.
I think Frank, right? Frank Tank Radio.
Frank, I think Frank also has a DX10.
Okay. So it's not worth it to go like a 710 is not that much more convenient or something like that.
No.
It's not, but it's not a bad choice. If you're making a choice and you're going to use it for POTA.
He has the 7. He has the
if you have the DX10, no, then don't worry about it. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, guys. I swear that was the last question.
Unless you're like going to go set up on a beach and like have sand everywhere, then maybe I wouldn't bring out my $1,000 plus ham radio, right? Right.
That makes sense.
If you're not dealing with that, then it's fine.
Yeah,
so
I'm
like
not hiking or any of that stuff. Not going anywhere dusty. It would just be state parks.
So I know Jason has dragged out an FTDX10 on a beach, and I've dragged out KX2s and other super expensive radios. And in those situations, it's like because we're just kind of, saying c'est la vie to the wind and going forth and doing our thing. But I don't think most people are necessarily going to do that, right? That's the reality of it.
Yeah. And Connor dragged out a Flex radio.
Right. Yeah.
No way,
yeah.
really?
That's right.
Wow.
He did. He did. I think it was another Jason Beach Galveston type thing, or I don't know.
No. It was at the West Bank or.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So
called the Outer Banks, Don. And
Mike, I can't even remember.
Been on the beach many times.
On
I can't
the
remember
beach.
between 4-1 and 9-1. So beach names are completely.
So the reality of it is there's a thing. I think it's subtly like Casey Neistat, and also growing up with the kids who were really serious about skateboarding, and they would break boards all the time. And Casey Neistat broke cameras all the time, right? And so the reality of it is that, like, if you want to do this so bad, it doesn't matter how much this costs, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And
same with drones. Dudes that are good break a lot of drones.
Right. So that's kind of what it feels like to me sometimes with ham radio, is that, like, when I was in New York, there was a certain part of me where it's like, am I going to take the 705, one of my favorite radios? No. Will I take the KX2, which is like a little covert, maybe slide under the radar a little bit, but if I get caught, Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Right? A
Right.
radio that's
Right.
not my primary radio. It's kind of like a secondary radio. What could happen here? All these little mental things are going on in my head in the background. That's kind of the reality of it. From my point of view, right?
And I actually have before I got the Onan, I had a Hermes to see if I liked Thetis and all that.
Right.
But I guess if you're going to try to bring a Hermes out, I have a little amp, a little 50-watt amp. But then you're going to need a laptop, right? It's a little bit more complex, I guess, than just a radio.
I've done it. It worked pretty damn good.
Honestly, if you got it, why not try it?
I actually have two of them for some reason. I ordered one, and I don't know. I ordered the one. Don? So for instance, do you use the what does it Josh call it? The cheap. The Potamus, what is it called? The cheap laptop?
Jankopotamus.
Yeah. That's what I.
That one Thetis?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah. When you get into trouble with Thetis is when you're trying to do a lot of things. Like on my Onan, I'm running diversity. I'm running. I've got a bunch of meters up and all that kind of stuff. That's going to drive your CPU up, but running a single port radio isn't. And even when I'm running my 7000, if I don't bring up all that other stuff, then it's like 2 or 3% on a i7. So yeah, on that Celeron, it's not struggling.
So then
How
would you then connect the Hermes to the? Do you bring a switch out with you? How do you connect the Hermes to the?
No,
laptop that doesn't have Ethernet?
I go
you have
direct.
an Ethernet port on your laptop. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I used a USB.
Yeah, I was gonna say USB would
Ethernet dongle.
Adapter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. And then what do you use for an amp?
I used. Well, you're not going to like this. But what I used, you're not. I used the Elecraft 100 watt amp on it. And that's a $1,800 amp.
Yeah, I know.
But I have it.
Yeah, you
so
have
what the hell?
Exactly.
And it's very, very portable. It's meant to be portable. So
it's crazy how much they are now. They were not
right.
I mean, you already have it, so it's good.
Yeah. See, when I bought my KX3 kit from Gigaparts, it cost less than what the amps are selling for today. And I got the amp, the PX3, and the KX3 all in one, plus a bunch of cables and stuff. I mean, it was a good deal. And then, I used the KX3, but I wasn't really using the amp. And I thought, hey, I'll hook it to the Hermes.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I think Jason, Ham Radio 2.0, said he bought his amp for less than $1,000. I guess that's what they were back in the day. Everything's so expensive now. I just bought a bag of dirt. It was $9. It's terrible.
So let me jump in here and say really fast: the Jankopotamus has now reached sky-high levels that we could not have expected. We have now crossed the $100 mark for the Jankopotamus. So
same specs.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell people about. We were buying these at $50 a couple of years ago, which is wild.
I got it for $60. About 3 of them.
Yeah. So
with the cell card.
Yeah,
amazing.
And you could resell the cell card, and you could put a better hard drive in it, a better solid state, and get better performance out of it. Right, the whole.
Yeah, I've got 2 of those. And the thing that did for me is it moved me towards trying to get a 12-volt shack, and into the mini PCs. They're all 12 volt, and the monitors are freaking 12 volts now. It's crazy what you can do with a 12-volt power supply.
Yeah, that's the best thing about it, in my opinion, is that it's 12 volt.
All right, I got to wrap things up. I gotta go.
Thank you, Josh.
You guys can keep talking. These are good questions, Robert. You can keep going because I'm gonna go, but you guys can stay. I gotta go because we're gonna do the podcast tonight. It's 2 days late, but it's gonna go up tomorrow morning. I promise. I gotta go talk with Leia and get all that sorted out, but. We had a lot of fun in New York City. Not as much fun, but we went to Pennsylvania and we got to D.C. and a number of other places. If you have any questions on what we think about our travel this week, please listen to the podcast. It's probably going to drop tomorrow. Please, 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 because that will answer all the questions. I will try and talk somewhat about my station there, my KX2, which did great. Very happy with that. But other than that, you'll have to wait for next week on my POTA video where I go into greater detail than the ham radio.
Can I ask you a quick question, Josh?
It depends on the question, Don.
It's about the podcast.
Okay, go ahead.
So now that I'm going to be driving a lot more,
okay.
If I'm going to start listening to your podcast, where should I start?
I have no way to answer that, Don. I don't know.
Sorry. Maybe I should just start with the one you're about to do. I don't know.
Go backwards.
It depends.
Yeah.
Don. It depends.
Oh yeah. True.
So there's people who've gone back to like when Leia started on the podcast, which was 2 years ago.
Was she by herself?
No, her and I. But it was just me before, right? So Leia joining the podcast made the podcast just so much better. So much better from my point of view.
Yeah, it's good when you have someone to interact with. I think.
And the changes we've made throughout the years, like there are inside jokes that you will not be able to understand if you don't go back in the hallowed antiquity, like cat cups. Cat cups.
I do remember that.
Cat cups came from the live stream, but like why Skyline chili is important, why certain other ridiculous things.
How long is each episode, Josh?
So many hours, like.
Oh yeah,
like 3. Like it. Usually they're 3 hours, and sometimes we have gotten over 6 hours. When we got started, the podcast was very long, and then they've gotten shorter since we got started. But like every one of them is really long. They're very long Like anybody who tells you this is how you would make a podcast, we are the antithesis of that. Like. There's nothing.
I might not have interacted my whole 15 years with my ex-wife for 3 hours, and the whole.
Oh no,
years.
I do. I do love my wife. I love my wife very, very much. She is my rock that I base everything off of. But so we've added segments. Like right now, we're doing like a movie segment where we talk about preparedness in movies. Like we watch these different movies. So what was actually kind of fun, we were flying back home on the second leg of our trip. We stopped in Houston. That was our second leg home, was stopping in Houston. And we hopped up on the podcast vote for our movie. And the movie was Contact. We try and do a video that is either highly involved in radio or like a preparedness type bend. So Contact actually has a ridiculous amount of radio in it. And
that's the Arecibo, right?
Yes, Arecibo is featured. Arecibo is now destroyed now, but yes, absolutely.
I know that. I saw the video where it broke up or whatever.
Yeah. So I had a really good time of when we were flying home in the last leg from Houston to Long Beach. I pulled up Contact on my phone and we watched it on the plane. So like we watched it a day ago, so her feedback is going to be hot because a lot of the time Leia's like it has to be a really good movie to pull her in, but she was like, I thought I saw Contact, but I actually didn't see it, and this is a very good movie. And I was like, yes, this Contact's a fantastic movie.
Great movie, yeah.
So that's going to be part of the segment, hopefully for tonight, and then obviously we're going to talk a lot about this vacation, including the POTA. So
the podcast is not live; it's edited.
Oh, well, edited in the sense that I click record and then I record the whole thing and then I upload it. We don't really edit the podcast. It is a long podcast, and if nobody enjoys it, that's okay. Like it's fine. I'm not offended.
Yeah, I have listened to it.
Labor of love, right? So
I have listened to it before, like when I was driving out to Huntsville and back. And so, I mean, I've enjoyed it. That's the reason I'm like, okay, if I'm going to have to make all these long drives rather than listen to the stupid radio,
How long a
grab
drive do you have to make, Don?
About an hour and 10 minutes up and an hour and
Each
10
way.
minutes back. Yeah, and it depends on how many times I have to go up and back because I work
I gotta
from home
go.
a lot.
I gotta go. I'm sorry, I gotta go.
73, Josh.
All right,
Can
you
I
guys.
ask you a quick question?
Yeah, please
Sure.
hang out. Please hang out. This is
Yeah.
your place. Have fun. Don't stop talking. Just because
Thank
I
you, Josh.
leave, you don't have to go. Take it easy, everybody. I appreciate you hanging out and answering all those questions. Love you guys. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. 73.
See you, buddy.
73, Josh.
All right. Well, that's all I got to say on that. Please, if you have not, go check out the Ham Radio Crash Course podcast on wherever you pod, if you pod. Go check it out. We're there, most likely. I don't know of a podcast place we're not. And we would appreciate it if you checked it out because tonight's going to be a hot one. And I got to get started with it, so I got to go. So, 73, take it easy. Enjoy the memes. I watched The Lighthouse recently. Oh my goodness. Willem Dafoe and what's Vampire Man. Very good. That's a fantastic movie. Pattinson? He's a Batman, right? Anyway, 73, everybody. Take it easy and enjoy the rest of your weekend.